And we should be live momentarily. Hello, everybody. Took me a moment to actually get our webcams fixed. OBS updated and they didn't want to accept the drivers. Go figure. So, yeah, we are at Mount Coronet. For Plasma Dialga fight. That's how far I am at this point.
It's been dying out.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you mean galactic?
Galactic. Yeah, what? I said plasma.
Yeah.
John 556, good afternoon. Question: what was your first Pokemon game? Red, blue.
Oh, mine was okay. So technically, the first Pokemon game I played was actually, I think, either Coliseum at a friend's house and maybe Pokemon Gold. They didn't have a Game Boy. But once I got that Game Boy Advance, it was Hoenn, baby. Hoenn changed me.
Laser alert. The Golden Egg Wish from GX is getting its own card, which is nice. I like when they do lore stuff like that.
Terra Death, greetings from the Forgotten Circle of Hell, also known as Florida Deaths and Alexis.
Yeah. State we will not be visiting much until there are major regime changes. Fortunately. We can help it. No offense, it's awful there.
Yeah, very awful. When we last left our heroes in this Pokemon game, stuff happened. Now you know the rest of the story. I shall call him Crunch Bite.
Yeah, and it's like, new Blue Eye support in the form of a retrained Kaiba-Man. I am there. I am absolutely there. Kaiba-Man was my ace card in GX. I'm not even kidding.
I am not joking. When I saw that card, I immediately thought of you. Like, did you make this? Did you will it into existence?
I mean, it's one of the earliest Blue Eye support cards that had not gotten a retrain, so it was kind of obligatory for them to do it at some point.
Oh man.
Ladies and also people have found court documents on why Air Neos hasn't been reprinted. Really? So it is a legal trap issue then. Which is frustrating, all sorts of frustrating, because they could clearly just change the art if that's the issue.
Oh, the chat's asking, see the team?
Yeah, we'll do that when, right after we get out of this fight. Well, here's a shot of him right now. Crunch Bites are Gabite, because obligatory, and yes, that is Red versus Blue reference. Obama Snow, because Obama Snows take out half of Cynthia's team. Like, that's obligatory. You get up into the snowier regions of Sinnoh. Sun is at 55. Terry, the Lucario, is at 51.
Oh, Terry Bogard.
Yeah, I went that route this time.
Terry!
Raph, the Gyarados, because of course. And Mikoto still topping the team at the highest experience rating.
Oh, Mikoto, you think you can top?
Just random Bidoof.
Stop enslaving the local populace.
No. Crunchbite cannot actually do it.
Golengaro, my dumb self didn't understand what a down arrow was back in the day. I was 5 and on the spectrum, so I just thought I kept getting stuck for no reason.
Ah. Need to find a down arrow. Down arrow. That's a plus sign. Oh, crap. What? I didn't even see it. Now the Elgato card crashed.
Too much, though. That's a good...
Yeah. Hang on, let me fix that too. Didn't... There we go. There we go. Thank you. Alright, again, I was playing the game, I wasn't paying attention, that's on me.
What? Yeah, there it goes, there it goes.
Yeah. They were telling me the capture card frozen. Yeah, here we go. For people who hadn't seen it before, current team, Wrath, Obama Sun, Terry, Crunch Bite, and Mikoto. I haven't named Obama Stove just because I couldn't think of a good name. And it's a new addition. Again, all the issues because OBS just updated. Like, if you're not gonna fix your program issues, why update your program? Here's the word. Apparently there's a copyright case for a comic book hero called Rave Dactyl whose design looks similar. Okay, so again, change the artwork. That's what we've been saying for like 20, no, not 20, like 10, 15 years.
Then again, this is comic we're talking about. Oh?
Yeah. Trademark is from 2002, from artist Greg White.
Terror of Death, Crunch Bite is actually holding a lucky egg.
Yeah.
Bronzong is Bron Dong.
Okay, I'm looking at the thing. This is all pretty new information, and the large amount of it seems to be from someone who's not very legally inclined. To a bunch of the information is a bit contradictory. Oh, and there's the other problem. It's mostly concept art. And the lawsuit is newer than Ernios's unprinting.
So it's compounding the error, shall we say.
Yeah. But again, they could easily just change Ernios's art and not have any issues with this.
Oh, what is Crunch Bite's ability? Fancy bucket?
No, it's the one that makes it faster in sandstorms.
Ah, the evasive.
Yeah.
Issue with No as a reason is that it feels like a lot of the routes have the same Pokemons in them.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're going out of your way for something specific, you go to one route and you'll encounter the same stuff as you did on...
Yeah, like it's like, and for things that are more unique, you have to go to very specific locations.
Right, and like now, yeah, you have to go to specific locations, but at the same time, part of the fun of Pokemon is like going through all these routes and seeing a diverse things. You know like, I mean, I hate to can, but I do think later generations managed to fix that problem.
Yeah, just by having the better distribution of its biodiversity. Like, you can only find, again, the big issue of the region is you can only find, like, 3 fire types. And the Magmar line are pretty specific, and the Ponytail line are pretty specifically placed.
And, like, you can't find more fire types, but that's okay. Like, during main story content, it's like, you have so few options available to you.
You would think there would be more, considering this is the Northlands.
Right, and
like, fire types would be at a premium.
And furthermore, like, the other thing about Team Left, like, now, this is still that era where I feel like Game Freak was still trying to get the kinks out of their villain teams, but I find that all the villains in Team Galactic, like the grunts and stuff, have the weak sauce teams.
Yeah, or it's the Zubat problem.
Right, it's like, how do all the freak workers like have freaking Golbat?
Especially because we already had that entire thing with Team Rocket, and it was actually to Team Magma and Aqua's credit that they actually had different Pokemon that were more Hoenn-based. It's like, I think we just got spoiled by 2 teams having a better diversity of available Pokemon that, going back to the Zubat clan, with all the Galactic members, just, like, made them less interesting.
Yeah. David Hayden, Flint definitely suffered from that decision. Oh yeah, one of the Elite Four members, because, like, it's Flint, it's like, he's the fire type guy, but his team has several, like, there are 2 Pokemon on his team that aren't fire types.
Yeah, which, Generation 1, you can get away with that because, you know, there's only so much in there. Ergo, why half of Lance's team are just the Patini line. And, you know, the guy who's supposed to be more fighting themed is a mix between fighting and rock types. There weren't enough to go around. Now, even Agatha has that, even though there's a few more that could qualify for the ghost typing. But still. Whereas Gen 2, Gen 3, with the Elite Four balances, that became much better, and then farther onwards, there's just so much available that you don't have that problem anymore.
Praise the Lord. What annoys me is that in Platinum they added the Houndour line, and in the remakes they removed them. That's the funny thing. Houndour and Houndoom do exist.
They're in the underground.
They're in the Grand Underground. I was so happy to come across my Houndour, or Houndoom. Yeah, I just didn't find the small pup version. I just found the big dog version. And he served me well.
Yeah. So it's like, there is technically a 4th one, but it's in the additional content.
Right.
As I checked when I caught one, it's not even in the standard Sinnoh-Dex. It's in the Nat Dex. It's just not counted as it yet. Sir Christoph, continued through Go on to last night, and Engino G12 so was ugly. And you were allowed to be wrong.
Yeah. It's like, okay, G12, Engino G12 is by far bread and butter.
It's glorious in its audacity.
It is, like, so audacious that they managed to slam 12 machines together.
And that's the exact phrase to describe it with. Refuge and audacity.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be clean as clean as God King Ogre simply because cluster F combinations, like, you can do them well, not everyone does, but it just feels more cohesively synergistic to allow everything to come together when one can.
And hey, at the very least, I appreciate that Engino G12 at least took all those Zords together and combined them, because I kind of don't like it when you have like a Super Sentai series where there's the Ultra Zord combination, but then you have
something gets left off, and we don't exactly include those tertiary self-fighting mechs necessarily, because they have the Go Rotor.
Oh yeah.
Even that can be used like the Warrior Wheel as a special attack for the final combination, so it still gets in there. Oh, and speaking of Super Sentai, I've almost got this done. Yes, this is a proper everything display stand. And I'm thinking of opening the shop on my show's anniversary, June 1st. I'm just trying to get a few more things done for the stuff, and also get in the spare printer, so I'm not locked up just printing everything and not able to iterate on more. Just for people who have stuff. Bone Zord history makes me really mad about the Tegasaur because it's so focused on being in everyone for themselves that they've forgotten what Sentai means. As I've said before about Gozuger, Akiko Inui is being set up to fail at the very least.
Like, okay, I want to give her credit. I want to give her credit because she's still, even though she is Shiki Inui's daughter, she is still a youngling in terms of the writing process and stuff. And a few episodes of God Shard does not mean you're automatically guaranteed to helm an entire series.
Yeah.
Because I think that, like, okay, so King Ocher's writer, like, the guy who helped write and, like, do all that stuff, he apparently got the job because when he pitched the story, he didn't just come in with a simple premise. He had, like, a whole
breakdown.
Like, he had,
he clearly had the story he wanted to tell.
Right, like, he had everything so thoughtfully laid out that it was, like, it's clear this guy knows what he's doing.
Whereas from the producer interview we got with the producer who also did Dawn Brothers and Shirakura between them, it's clear that they're mandating what's being done.
Yeah.
Because if they were going to do anything, they would have had the writer involved in that. That is a big, big sign that the writer's just being told what to do, which is not good for just creative pursuits. And every time we know historically that Shirakura does that, like he is so loathed as a producer, it's not just our fandom hating on him for no reason. And the new guy seems to be doing the same thing. And I'm forgetting the new guy's name just because we haven't watched a lot of what he's done, but if you look up his IMDb, it's almost complete garbage.
Yeah, but I will say, not so much as positive, but something I find funny is that the villain mech, the Giga or whatever, it's voiced by Yukana.
Yeah, Yukana Nogami, aka CC Kokias.
I find that amusing.
It's a bit of a frustrating story. We have Spectrum Internet, and we just started getting emails last week about our modem no longer being supported, and so I kept having to ask them, hey, could you not do something stupid about this? And it's like, they kept saying, oh, we'll just send you a modem. It's like, and I have a bad experience from other cable internet companies charging rental fees for their modems. So I kept asking them directly, hey, are you going to be charging us for that? Because if you are, I can just get our own modem, and they kept not getting back to me. Finally, after I ordered an actual new modem, they finally got back to me and said, no, we don't charge for modems, we only charge for routers. Oh. Well, I guess I can cancel this. Can't cancel the order, have to do it after it gets in. Have to return after it gets in.
Hey, I got some questions. Top 556, do you guys like living next door?
I liked it. It wasn't a mandatory watch thing. If it was on and nothing else was on, I'd watch through it, but I wasn't the biggest engaged in that.
Like, I mean, I
Chris
remember.
Summer was very good in it, though.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it, but I also, looking back, I'm going, oh my god, there was some messed up stuff in that show.
Yeah.
Like, messed up transformations, like the one where the kids get turned into animals, and you see the whole process, and it's like, shit. Or like, Operation Zero, where everybody became old. Like, that was horrible.
The fact that the person you think is the main villain is actually the main character's uncle.
Yeah, which is, okay.
Which makes the delightful children from down the lane his cousins.
Quote unquote.
Yeah.
Because we learned, oh, by the way, those kids, they're freaking brainwashed, and they
I mean, technically adopted, but still.
Yeah. But they're still brainwashed.
Yeah.
And that's horrifying.
Lots of existential horror in that show.
Cure Crystal, I'm still wishing that one day Disney do more series we want on Blu-rays with amazing special features instead of it being stuck on Disney Plus.
Disney is consistently terrible with home video across the board. Like, I remember Erod having bought most of their DVD sets and how they would be missing episodes, or episodes would be out of order because they wouldn't be in the proper seasonal chronological, but in just straight broadcast order, meaning there were shows that had continuity, but they were locked into seasons, but due to how Disney syndicated things and produced things, there would be a weekdays team, which would be like season 1 through 3, and then you'd have a weekends team, which would be like season 4 in the chronology of how things were produced, and it would be all wrong. Which was a big problem for stuff like DuckTales, where they would have multi-parters on weekends, and then standalone episodes on weekdays.
That's not the way.
No, not the way.
Laser Lord, what hybrid do you think needs a revive kit next? For me, it's the Gelgoog line.
I can see that. Especially because there are so many variations on the Gelgoog from the later series where they could just instantly do that.
A revive? Is that the Ranties?
Oh, yeah, that'd be...
Yeah. Tara Jeff, you guys question. If you play Gen 6 on stream, will you get a Tyrantrum and name it Gabatira?
That's what I did with, when I played through Callus originally.
Yep. Jay Toku, what is your ideal Pokemon team?
It varies.
Like, for me, I think I'm always gonna have the Pseudo-Legendary Dragon on my final team at some point.
That is a generally good choice.
Right, because, like, even, like, that's the great thing about each generation Pseudo-Legendary Dragon type, is that even the weakest one is still, like, better than what you usually find. You know what I mean? Everything alright?
Yeah, just trying to get a map because I think I'm a bit lost.
What else? But I feel like when I make a Pokemon team, I'm not going after any specific type. Rather, if whatever I find cool or whatever I think is like really interesting, I have to ask myself, okay, what diverse moves can they learn to cover their weaknesses? And like try to keep it balanced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take this entire next question. Black Century King, I watched this other person's review on Shinkenger, and he described it as a second Die Ranger. All thing is a fair description.
No, Die Ranger's entire thing was a rivalry between the hero faction and the villain faction. There is not a rivalry in Shinkenger's case. Like, does it have Succession of Legacy involved in it? Yes, but that's basically their only common theme.
No, yeah, and
Because, like, phrase this. The generational legacy that's carried on there is in servitude to a clan that are the spearheads of the battle against the Godoshu, but the rest of it, like, they're not beholden to their ancestors' responsibilities or legacy. They do it for themselves. That's kind of the entire greater point of Shinkenja's story, because Takeru Shiba, spoilers for people who haven't seen Shinkenja, is not actually a member of the Shiba clan. He was effectively adopted. That is, in fact, what got people so mad with Power Rangers Samurai, in that you have the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, Japanese descendant, which is ridiculous, which is excusable if they actually made Jaden in that adopted. And then they doubled down by just making Lauren Shiba the same hair, eye, skin color for the successors to a Japanese samurai clan. You see the problem there?
Right.
Whereas headcast Lauren, don't even need to change the name, as Japanese, or at least Asian descent, you got that covered, and you recreate the entire dynamic, which was Shinkenja's entire point. You're not beholden to your ancestors' legacy. You can... anything traditionally samurai can evolve with the times. They're modern samurai. That was the point.
Yeah.
Whereas Ranger, it's more inheritance of a sin of rivalry, as pointed out by... I'm forgetting the giant dragon's name in Japanese, but was used as Serpentera in Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Where it came down simply because it got mad that these two groups are causing such chaos, even though there was clearly an aggressor on one side.
But then again, when it comes to god entities, like, they don't really care.
They don't get nuance, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, after, like, at a certain god scaling, you, like, lose that kind of nuanced perspective. You only see, lack of a better term, black and white.
Yeah. Venom 666. I like how Power Rangers Samurai handled the Nylok and Decker Dayu compared to the original Japanese version, which is fair. There are... Samurai isn't completely terrible in its original aspects. That's actually where it has more merit. But literally anything they copied from Shinkenja, they completely fucked up. And we know why that is. It's because the writers who wanted to do more original things or more closely adapt the source material properly were not the people who were in charge of doing that, just all of that correctly. Like, they threw, from later interviews, they clearly threw Jonathan Zacher under the bus on why that series did not get properly adapted.
Apparently it was Gaijin Ryu.
Yes, I could not remember the name off the top of my head.
Okay, but SMP of that?
Oh yeah.
That
would have to be super expensive NP Bandai if they ever went back to
But
it,
if they did, I would want it.
It'd have to be King Jader sized at least.
But that would mean you could have King Jader fight Gaijin Ryu.
Yeah, Phoenix vs. Dragon, make it funny.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, DJ Toku, Geki Ranger is more in common with Dai Ranger than Shinkenja just beyond martial arts. Yes, exactly. That is the proper comparison.
Yep, and also Romanoff asked, Alexis, if you were to rewrite the Pokemon anime, what changes would you do? Can I start? Oh yeah. My change would be, let Ash win more frequently. Because, like, I can't tell you in tournaments, because let me tell you, it's so annoying as a kid to see Ash go through beat all these juniors that in the anime are depicted as monumental feats of skill and ingenuity and stuff. It's sometimes you Shaka Swalot not Swalot, you know, the bird from Gen 3.
Pelipper.
Yeah, no, the other one. The Talo.
Oh, Swallow, yeah.
Yeah, Swallow, that's what it was. Sometimes you have to shock a Swallow with a Pikachu to turn it to golden so you can smash into your opponent, but regardless, but if you at least let Ash win a few more, like, tournaments more frequently, not saying you have to win all of them, but, like, it's the,
I think where people just got so pissed off on that was just Kalos. Kalos was the breaking point for me with that. Because, you know, they tease, oh, he's finally gonna do it, he's finally gonna win, and then he doesn't. And it was for kind of bullshit reasons. Uh,
666. Outside of Gunner Wing, what setting do you think the Leo mobile suit would handle well in? Ooh, that's a funny one.
Leo is like everything the Zaku should have been. It would dominate in Universal Century.
It would actually. It's like, okay, the Leo is basically like the Hulky is essentially an evolved Leo.
No, the Leo is a stripped down Hulkies.
Oh yeah, but basically the Leo could outpace the Zaku, and if you put a char inside of a red Leo, oh my god. Like, can you imagine?
Yeah, other Pokemon changes. Unova entirely needs a rewrite because them doing a character reset on Ash was doing him dirty. But why so many people got so behind Kalos was Kalos basically undid that for his characterization. He actually made him the experienced one. And then again, that's a bigger reason on why the Kalos tournament was just such a pisser for so many people.
Because, like, you built up so much good stuff, and then you... Like...
And again, that's the other thing I would really just rewrite. And we brought this up whenever we do Pokemon streams for any time because people are still pissed off on it. You can have Ash win the tournament barely, but have all his Pokemon be so exhausted from the fight, since the Zygarde incident occurs immediately after the tournament ends, that he can't do anything. Meaning, it shows him that just because you're the champion doesn't mean you, of one region, doesn't mean you are allowed to stop growing and improving yourself. Then everything with Alola's championship setup is done with, and then you just go swing into Pokemon Journeys.
Romanoff says, for me, I would have Ash evolve all of his Pokemon except Pikachu into their final forms, and have their evolution be a way to track their character development. Like,
I can see that too.
Yeah, because, like, I'm not saying that the anime has to follow the games, but what person plays through all of Pokemon and deliberately doesn't evolve the good stuff, right? Because, I mean, why wouldn't you? Like, maybe, like, you could say the reason why Ash doesn't is because he doesn't want to have another Charizard situation happen. Well, then, they have all of his team be, like, fully evolved, be the signifier that he has mastered the, like, of the Beast team.
On that note, in fact, how do you think Zap would do in UC compared to Zeon? Oh, much better.
Oh
Massively better. Because part of the thing about Zeon was they were doing things they shouldn't have needed to, such as sending the entirety of their army after the RX-78. Now that has been retconned by lore expansions to all these other fronts, so that's not as much a thing as it was claimed to be in the original series. Where there were other Gundam-type units, but just not the Super Gundam. And if you look at it, like, there was so much incompetence on the Federation side because they're an evil dictatorship, evil authoritarian dictatorship, and people need to better recognize that. But you look at that, and one way Zap could more easily win the war over Zeon is the reasons behind the conflict in the first place. It would not have the same exact causes, but just sending out just simple propaganda on how Federation are villainous and all the horrible things they're doing that don't get transmitted out into the universe because no one thinks to actually tell people about it broadly. Like, that is the defining factor, because if you look at the original UC stuff, you just think it's a war of independence. Some groups want just their own level of controls, and it's defying a world united government, and you don't see the fact that the Federation is completely and utterly corrupt until the sequel series. That throughout the Seed series are much better at their delivery of information, as example by Durandal just exposing everything the Federation in Seed Timeline is doing that's evil that turns the public against them.
Alrighty. Milton Cobb, sorry if this is a bit off topic, but Yu-Gi-Oh! OTC has announced 3 brand new monsters in the Lunalight archetype from Mark B. What are your guys' thoughts?
Alexis plays Little Lights. Like, she's happy. Or at least we will once we get spare cash to actually catch up with the game. The biggest problem is just, like, everything we want to play is so goddamn expensive. Or even buy.
Right, or to, like, get a proper deck done.
Because, like, we're both big fans of Yubel. We have the cards, Yubel cards from before she got popular. They got popular both ways. And yeah, we haven't been able to buy the new support because they're just so damn expensive because they became meta relevant. And it's like, it's good that Yubel got a chance to be meta relevant because Yubel's entire shtick is amazing when you think about it. Because it's just all damage reflection. And that's definitely something that's not so easily fully negated outside of cards that mass negate everything. But it lost us our chance to just get copies of them. And also because they were kept in pretty short supply. Like, one of the things about the anniversary Megatin stuff was it used to make it easier to get cards out of them, and then more recently they just started shoving the entire kitchen sink into those mega packs, so now the acquisition rates for anything are worse than buying the booster boxes themselves, because they changed in the TCG they keep changing the rarity rates. Shinta, why does it feel like all the other Gundam militaries would bankrupt themselves compared to African Colony military due to focus on super weapons, while African Colony's mass production of one model? I mean, African Colony didn't quite do that. The thing with Oz's mobile suits is they had 12 production lines. It was just the first, the base unit, and then as the show progresses, we see all of the specialized variations that were being developed. The issue with African Colony is outside of rebel factions against their unification of world government, there's not seen as much a need until you realize that Oz's entire plan was to take over the world, thus they needed armaments for their little war games. So yeah, Leo is just a base model is great, it fails against everything specialized. Which is fine, it's a grunt unit. It's supposed to be fast troopers anyways. Speaking of Zath and Orc, where they're at the end of the Sea of Freedom, do you think they will essentially be the start of a new united government of humanity? I think, this is, at least, you know, with their third-party intervention being officiated by all 3 of the main governments, and with them actively going after the various terrorist organizations in the seed setting that's make a mess of things. So, yeah, at the end of Seed Freedom, you do feel like everything is doing better to be resolved, as the right people are now in the right positions of power to not screw everyone else over, even if they're still bickering in the interim. Stone Cop, how would Mobile Suit Gundam Kukuru's Go on Island movie fit in the context of Super Robot Wars? Seen it, so I can't really say. Simone, I hope Megatins actually contribute to some serious price drops, getting short of 2 cards per pack from the AM this year. Yeah, especially because they're selling the Mega Packs separate from the tins for the first time ever. But again, them doing that and separating the tins like that might actually make the rarity rates worse. Because if you look it up in the TCG, there are already worse rarity rates in the TCG than there are in the OCG. The OCG does not have the price gouging problem the TCG has. fact, every non-English version of the card game does not have the same problem. It's just America where the rarity rates are, like, awful. Which is, again, why we stopped getting invested in the game, because we literally can't afford to pay the scarcity scalping.
Breeding eggs. I really love my time with dimension pearls.
It's not as bad as the first time, but I think that's just the experience share.
Yeah.
The type balancing in the region is still awful. You can't find Gondor and Houndoom in the underground, so that fixes the fire type problem for anyone who goes for anything but Chimchar. It's just, it's still not the best with how it handles it. It needed to rebalance more of how you find Pokemon and where. Because, like,
Yeah.
in the time I've not been streaming the game, I've been doing the Slather the Bark with Honey thing, and I still haven't gotten this goddamn Comb Bee on that.
It's like,
seriously, that is the worst. Like, Vespiquen. I will always say Vespiquen is the worst Pokemon to try and get out of anything that has a gender-specific thing to it. Specifically because the Slather the Bark on Honey mechanic is the only feasible way to really get Comb Bees.
right, and I never liked that because it's like, if you were to slather the honey and then Pokemon comes immediately, that'd be one thing, but the fact that you have to wait for such an extended period of time that you forget about it.
Again, that is why I defend the entire metrics Blazzle, because you can easily just go through the grass until you find a female one. Not so with,
Right.
not so if you're trying to do anything with, Comb Bees.
Fair enough, yeah, also, Alexa, hard to get to say it from one train going to another, very stressed. Thank you.
Rated eggs, and I think Generation 3/Hone is aging very well. Love that saying too much. Yeah, and even though there is the land versus water debate, and Owen having a fair amount of water routes, it doesn't feel like it's overwhelming.
No, it's not. In fact, I love, like, if you want to talk about great map design, Owen is definitely it because literally, like, you look at the map and the land it's equal parts land and equal parts water, but the water part isn't necessarily all water. It's like, it feels like an entire park, like little micro area in of itself. You know what I mean? Like, especially when you go from, Pseudopolis is the 8th gym, but I don't know what the, what the 7th, or like the, port city's called, but the point is, I love how every area feels connected to each other, but it's so distinct. Like, you can feel the nature.
Legally distinct. That's kind of distinct.
Oh, like, I remember when I first came across Pseudopolis City, and I'm like, wait, what do you mean? How do I get to this place? Die? What? You know,
And I feel like Owen has the better amount of city intersections with just everything else you're doing, because the path you travel takes you down one route, and then you backtracking to go a different path with them doesn't feel as bad.
John 556 Honesty. That one, although that place is pretty cool, I'm talking about the, woman in apartments.
Yeah, and the contest hall.
Yeah.
I know which one you're talking about, I'm forgetting the name. Probably just because it's been so long since I've been in anything general related.
Hey Choku, are there any other use of mono-eyes units you'd like to have seen camped in the Cosmic Era? I think they've pretty much done them all.
All the major and important ones. Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Like, unless they want to give us a seed version of Cubile, but I don't think that's quite what they have in mind or anything. Plus, they have so many Dragoon units already that the Cubile's bit system would really be required. Like, I consider the Destroy a more functional version of the Psycho Gundams as it is.
yeah. No, I would like to, for posterities. Like I wouldn't want to see it necessarily in an anime production, but I would be curious to see what the Cosmic Era's take on it.
Okay, there's actually another Mono unit I would actually want to see a Cosmic Era version of. This is Zabi.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, a Cosmic Era Zabi would go hard. Fine. If there's one thing that the remake making Pokemon games does do well, I think, it just give you that sense of scale.
Like, this was in Gen 4 as well, but you didn't have the 3D graphics to really do this type of perspective shot.
Yeah. And like, you know, the villain in front of the chained monster, the chained kaiju.
Oh no, it's bound by the red string of fate. Even time can't alter that. Prison Wonder, is you're on Cyrus already? Yeah, I meant to be here before we started for the day. It's just, couldn't get there because of time. Ironically. That is irony, not a pun.
Yeah. I got too much time on my hands.
Dave said, what about the E-Freights? A rather underrated ace unit in my opinion. Remember that one.
I look at I don't remember it either, so I just need a refresh.
Like, there's a lot of UC units. Plus, Seed's thing was more doing the original, UC Gundams, specialty units from Destiny on. Like, they had their own original mass production, which is a good thing. They even prefer their dagger line over the gems because it more showcases how the Team Federations do not have any character.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the the E-Freights are basically like pointed out Zaku. Like they have spiked shoulder pads and stuff, and a bit more heavy duty weaponry. But they're pretty nice.
We're gonna have a goddammit Barry moment pretty soon.
Barry, why must you be like this?
Do you think Setsuna was sloppy over Copter or Smirnoff with just that skill because outdated tier and the tag the Exia? Smirnoff, I don't believe that's his actual name. I'm forgetting what his actual name is. The scarred guy that was,
Oh, Alial Sanchez?
No. From the group that, the surrogate father to Alleluia's girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Got, you know, had the
that guy, yeah.
That guy, yeah. I think it's just that skill. It's the old soldier trope.
Right, it's like just because they may not be on the battlefield as much, that doesn't mean you don't. You always gotta show that no matter how fancy the tech is, there will always be somebody out there that will be just that good to get.
Yeah. Plus, like, in Season 1 of Gundam 00, the Celestial Being Group tech advantage, not necessarily the skill and piling experience advantage over the other groups. They gain that over time, and it's part of their thing of they're fighting the world, so there has to be influential people in the world that have to be shown as some level of skill against them. Showcase some level of skill against them. Kind of like how Grand Acre, his flag units kept keeping the Exia just out of his crazy ability.
Odin.
Sergei, yeah.
Sergei, yay!
Golden Cop, what Gundam video games you would like to see represented in Circa be the most pleased? Gundam video games? No. Anime. Anime and manga go into Super Robot Wars, not mecha games.
Well, there was actually one time where a video game was represented in Super
Except for the Crucible.
Yeah, except for that Bruiser rule. But like, okay, so I know there are several people that want like other mecha video game series in Super Robot Wars, and while I think that would be the issue with that is an anime paces things differently than a video game does, and I think you're more if you're skilled enough, you're more easily be able to like mix together anime story beat than the entirety of a video game.
Yeah, it's like Dawn of the Enders, I would love to see in Super Robot Wars, but their game story pacing just does not is easily allow for it, because you're pretty well on the rails through both of them. You could do Zone of the Enders Dolores,
Which that'd be cool.
would be cool, but it's not as easy to fit anything else from it into the same story engine. David Hayden, what about that time Virtual I got into Alpha? That's the exception that proves the rule.
And Virtual On was like a simple arcade game anyways, so its story didn't really... It's not as important as, like, say, others would be.
Yeah, but otherwise, it would end up being the problem of the glorified cameos in Super Robot Wars 30. Like, no, I don't want that. I especially don't want that. Like, if you're gonna include something, make it matter.
Just one piece of Manoa unit that I would love to see because I'll think Arrow would be the comfort.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely fair. I mean, I think the reason why, like, the chat talk about the Conqueror makeover is just simply because, well, like, you saw how, like, Atherin showed up and it's a gawk and just bodied.
I still need to get out Allocate when it goes on sale.
Yeah, like, I mean, Atherin showed up and it was, like, the coolest dude ever, right? Like, kicking so much butt in that thing was awesome.
Maybe it was something in Sega wanted to get Ultra and Dreamcast, so the Virtual One is not exposed to the Dreamcast version. I mean, they do ports, they don't exactly do version exclusivity, so that makes sense.
And, also back to Sinnoh, my feelings on Sinnoh. Like, there's a lot of Pokemon in it that I think are really cool and, like, interesting combinations. But based on what the game throws at you, like, you're not really incentivized to, like, diversify a whole lot.
It's like, I swapped out Psyduck for Gyarados simply because it has better stat rating and move diversity than Psyduck's Golduck.
Yeah.
Just telling because it evolves from Magikarp. So the second I got like a 19 Magikarp through fishing, I just gave it a rare candy and away I went.
Phantom 666, Dolores was so cute. I mean, she's played by Hoko Kawashima, I believe. Like, I've seen clips, and yes, she is adorable. She's an adorable.
I have Dolores on, just need to find time to watch it.
Olengaro, honestly though, I can see Mithra, Nora, Elma, or the Ouroboros appearing in an SRW game. Okay, I was actually thinking about this, like, if I were to throw a Xeno character into SRW as, like, this is the glorified Shinta right here. So, like, it would be Cosmos.
Yeah.
If only because I know Cosmos can handle heavy, wide sweeps of enemies at once. He has the firepower to do it, and I think you could get some funny Zohar shenanigans involved.
Yeah, it's just like the way the Xenoblade games handle themselves, they're not an easier because while there are mecha in them, especially the current Mitra's exclusive unit whose name escapes me off the top of my head. The Siren. They're not in it. They're not in the Siren enough to really warrant the SRW marker. Whereas Cosmos is a gynoid from the start, and then you can have her as the tiny mecha android unit on her own, and then you can have her pair up with her like Face Booster routine in Xenosaga 1, and then her full support mech from Xenosaga 2 3 as something better. But they're better in ground groups for stuff like Smash Brothers or Project Cross Zone, if those ever got another stylistic successor. Like, you could feasibly do the Xenoblade Cross crew with the Skells, but the problem there is the Skells are customizable. Right, so there's not exactly a single definitive rule.
Y'all can hang out. Oh, then galaxy effect. Honestly, like, well, I do kind of miss the villain leader, the villain leaders that are mustache twirling, wahaha, I'm evil. I kind of do appreciate the later generations and kind of be more nuanced the villain team.
Yeah.
Like how,
like, the reason why people like Giovanni so much was you look into all the war stuff and then you connect the dots, and it's like, oh, Giovanni is an asshole, but he was actually trying to stop something more dangerous than Mewtwo. But Mewtwo was just an abused animal and wanted to be left alone, so what he was doing was actually making it worse.
Right. And plus Giovanni just has that mob boss charisma to him.
He does.
Like, when I played through, I think it was honestly like the 7th gen with Team Skull, where I feel like they really started to do something interesting with the teams, because at first you think Team Skull are going to be like end-tier baddies, but then you learn, oh, they're just a bunch of delinquent punks that banded together because they had nowhere else to go.
Yeah, and even Magma and Aqua, they're two people with ideologies that have gone way out of control and need to be talked down, and through Emerald, that's why I think Emerald's the best definitive Owen game. They realize, oh hey, we fucked up, let's not do this again.
Right, because it's like, what happens when two men who had very good intentions, like, had their ambitions go too far?
And likely because the argument they kept having with each other, they stopped seeing that they both have a point, but they're both going about it the wrong way, simply because the extremes they were pushing each other to. But Galactic and Plasma and Flare, no, those are pretty evil teams when you think about it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially,
like 4, 5, 6 are kind of the peak of the evil Pokemon teams.
And then I like how in Galar, I forgot what the team name in Galar was.
Team Yell.
Team Yell. It turns out, oh no, they're just a bunch of overexcited fanboys.
Yeah, because they're from the slummy city.
Right, and then when you learn what the deal with the slummy city is, and that, like, all they have are their ace gym leader and his little sister, like, they're just being
overly enthusiastic about it, and they just need to be talked down. So it's going back to more of the Magma Aqua dynamic.
Right, and also, like, the real threat isn't, like, the friendly face at, like, it's, oh, Lucamine is actually an evil mom who gets possessed by an alien.
So Skull is actually the distraction of all that.
Right,
yeah.
Which I actually really like, because what good metaphor right there, you know, like, the evil rich CEO is actually using the little guy to, like, further their own ends, even if the little guy may not be fully aware of it. I
especially like Team Yell because that was understandable for people from the perspective of I keep having people try and hack my bank accounts to get money to spend on FIFA. So those soccer hooligan things, I get that. Because, oh hey, that's criminal. Yeah, that is a criminal thing you were doing.
I'll keep Gary Dev's question in a second. David Keenan, Garth says that villains are products of their environment. And yeah, like...
Yeah, and it's definitely appropriate to do villains in air quotes there.
Right, and then it turns out that the whole, like, in, Paldea's case, only real villain, would say, was an overzealous professor and their team that, like, stirred too far to fit. It's like when science goes horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah. It's no good. You guys forgot the most dastardly evil team ever. Team Snag'em.
Oh, what? Like, who cares about Team Snag'em?
The fact that almost all of Cyrus's team is weak to just one Pokemon in this region is dirt common. Seriously.
Like, what the heck, Cyrus? Like, come on, this is the best you got. You're supposed to be a team leader. You should have, like, something more threatening.
Like, there's a reason Mikoto is my strongest Pokemon in the team right now. M666. Player was a suicide cult. Obsessed with fashion, yes.
He has a few things done in the Ender Lore Master. Tell me which orbital frame is based on which Egyptian god. Energy is Thoth and Anubis is well. What are the others?
Here's the problem. I haven't played some of the Enders in time. I know they all have Egyptian mythos references. I never quite pinned down.
Also, the synthetic Weavile that can die to one aura speed.
Like Nephthys, I know is based on Ra, because Phoenix and Nephthys, that's all a Ra thing.
Yeah, like, I think Paldea's greater story was less about any one individual, and rather that everybody has a different kind of treasure that they can hold that they're striving for, and sometimes the path to that is threatening.
I was tempted to swap in farther my fighting types, but I realized they're both people around.
Not possible that I don't lose. That's a man that brought like 3 things that were worth the lightning into his party. Like, what, dude, what are you doing, man? Also, I love how shocked Cyrus is that the red chain was broken by the
Three Pokemon he used to create it.
right, and then he's like, if you want to let them go, be my guest. I don't care. Like,
what are you expecting?
like, what are you, stupid?
I prefer Cyrus in Platinum because at least in Platinum he actually does have a personality about him. Usually that personality thinks it's that version. Fair. I have no arguments against that.
Oh, no, absolutely. It's kind of why I wish that when they remade, they didn't do the split version thing. They just, here's Platinum on the Switch.
Yeah, it's like, do the Legends thing. Just do one game.
And also, there's one mechanic that I actually think is the plus in thing, is that bond mechanic with your Pokemon. Like, they moved in time to your shout or whatever. It's like, that it makes you feel good that you raise your Pokemon.
Do so good. By the way, I'm still salted that Emerald never got a remake. Yeah, I see them doing a Switch 2 version at some point if they want to continue the remake chain. I have Ice Beams and TM. I can do that. And it's like Yellow, Crystal, Emerald, Platinum. All of those are the premium versions. fact they did the Let's Go games, which are basically Pokemon Yellow revamp over the Fire Red and Leaf Green stuff. Like, you could see them doing that again for several Pokemon. Oh great, just leave me to deal with your mess. Saving for posterity. Fear of death, time to catch a Time Lord, pun unintended. Is it though? I'm just straight up Master Balling it. Also the fact my Pokemon are stronger than Time Gods. Like seriously, how stupid is Cyrus to have a Master Ball, give it away, and then lose his chance at a Time God? His entire goal... Like, that's kind of my thing with Cyrus. It's like, he's a stupid evil villain. And we're finally moving on. I gotta get down farther back down the mountain before I can do that. Fear of Death. So question is, anyone figure out the Pokemon mythological hierarchy, because I kind of lost the plot of Gen 6. I kind of did myself at that. Is it like all the legendary Pokemon do something or are the consequence of something? Like sometimes it's just regional deities outside of the full, you know, divine pantheon. Plus, you know, we didn't really start having the Divine Pantheon until Gen 4. Beyond that, before that, it was just like legendary birds, their servants, and titans. And then Gen 5 was weather phenomena and the legendary sword beasts. And the legendary Idealism trio, the Tau trio. Then Gen 6 was, again, Creation Destruction.
So you caught God?
Yeah, I caught God.
I caught
In
God.
a tiny ball.
I caught God in a timer ball.
You didn't want to use the Master Ball?
Because it's Mesprit. You know the Pokemon that runs around the region?
Oh, that situation, yeah.
And there's granted there's two Pokemon in this game that do that, Mesprit and Cresselia.
Oh yeah. A event Pokemon.
No, she's apparently in the base in this game.
Huh.
So I had so much childhood trauma of trying to catch Mesprit because
And there are Pokemon that prevent them. There are Pokemon moves and abilities that prevent them from running. So
but at the same time you still have to hunt them down in the first place.
yeah, it's just to use that Pokemon tracker app thing. Really. But whatever, I'm not bothering with that right now. I might not battle this guy.
I got opinions of
As we were discussing, like, the legendary hierarchy, Gen 7 is just extra-dimensional invaders. That's pretty simple.
Yeah, and honestly, I really like that concept. The idea of Pokemon coming from outside our realm, like some sort of like Lovecraftian horror.
Technically, we already had a few Pokemon in the prior gens that were invasive species, like the fairies apparently being removed.
But there was something about the Ultra Beasts that just they elicit terror, like especially the Goldlord.
Yeah. Deoxys as well.
Yeah.
Think about it.
I love Deoxys, by the way.
Digitoku, I hate rolling Pokemon as a kid. Original Gold, Silver, Crystal power rates for the legendary dogs was fucking terrible, and the worst thing about them was fucking roar. Like, even if you try to trap them, they'd get away.
Yeah, and it was like nigh impossible to like.
Especially because this was before you had the quick balls.
Right.
You could get lucky with the quick ball. You couldn't really do that outside of, like, the acorn fast balls. And even then, you needed a very specific acorn to turn into fastballs. Then you could just purpose those endlessly. And it'd take an insane amount of prep time to just do that.
And it's like, at some point you have to ask, what are you willing to put up with today?
Not fucking this! Digitoku, what would you say are other monsters that can stand the arena with Pokemon and Digimon? Stuff we don't play, Monster Rancher or Monster Rancher successor stuff, like you could never play Monster Rancher or anything else in that kind of Yokai Watch, probably. No, definitely Yokai Watch. Which again I don't really engage with. There have been a couple things that have tried to come in as successors or competitors over time, like Spectrobes, but just a lot of them just do not have staying power.
I think it comes down to that secret sauce. Like,
people complain about Pokemon games not changing their mechanics much, but like, why reinvent the wheel?
exactly. What are you doing? Oh, you're going to Sunny Shore.
Yep.
Terra Jets, by the way, I have a fan theory about Lugia creating a legendary first in P1.
If they're in the same grouping, that would make sense. Lugia would create the legendary birds, Ho-Oh would create the legendary dogs.
Like, Lugia's another favorite of my legendary. Like, if I were to make a team of legendaries, Lugia would be on there simply because it's something about its design and the giant wing hand thing.
Is there other psychic flyings?
Yeah. True. But I also like the idea of it being like a deep sea diving dog bird.
For some reason, I think it would have been better as a water flying, but then I would have made extra weak looking.
So maybe like, let's still give it psychic water.
Psychic flying.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Psychic water would also have made sense.
Yeah. I associated with water and stuff.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, let's be real. ways it's pretty S tier, right?
Yeah. Like, there's a reason why it's Mega Force fan performance.
Yeah, like
Not just because it's a legendary.
yeah, because it's like talk about the BFG of Pokemon, right?
Yeah, because it doesn't need to have a hold item. It aids its Mega Stone.
Which is insane. Like, insane that they got away with that, and I'm like, that's the kind of must-game mechanic that I love, that, you know, here's a free little, you know, beat 'em up stick.
Okay, cards on the table. I never got bird. When I look at Lugia, I got more dragon or wyvern types. I would love for it to have been a psychic dragon.
Psychic Dragon was sick. Has there been a Psychic Dragon?
No,
I just looked it
think
up.
so.
Shut up. There's no way.
Maybe this was 1,000 Pokemon. They could have done it. I just don't remember if they did or not. And everything above 50. We might not get to the Elite Four today, but I've definitely got a team already that's in their challenge range.
Latias and Latios.
Oh yeah, two of them. I always forget that they're Psychic Dragon.
But like, I think that's it. I think they're the only ones.
No, because like that's an OP type. It's just that Latias and Latios aren't the best Pokemon.
But they're cute though.
Yeah,
Especially Latias.
your Lopunny's gonna get the cold shoulder.
He looks like over Brimley. What do you call him, Wilford?
No.
I told this story on Main Street before, but when I first came across Rayquaza, I think I heard about him at the lunch table at elementary school once, and I'm like, what the heck are you talking about, right? Everything okay?
Yep, spam call. There's an easy way for me to tell spam calls. My area code is for a different state than the one I live in, so anytime I get a call matching an area code, that area code, I am almost guaranteed to be getting spam calls.
But anyways, so like I remember playing at the lunch table at school, and then when I come across the Sky Pillar, and it's just,
Oh, what is this? And then you go up and see the legendary sleeping.
and then like this green behemoth dragon just standing on top of it. And ascending Sky Pillar is no easy feat. You have to use the Mach Bite, and you have to essentially have pinpoint vision.
Which is easier in Gen 3 than the Gen 6 remake.
Right. But like it's still really good for you to navigate, especially if you go up the floors. And then only then when you get up to the top do you realize like what you're tasked to do. You're fighting a level 70 dragon flying that will
nuke this entire planet from
yeah.
the only way to be sure.
It's the ozone Pokemon. It casually can go up to the stratosphere and just chill up there.
Go up the stratosphere and chill.
Like honestly, like I struggle to think of a generation that had outright terrible legendary.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
we've had generations.
Zapdos, Moltres, Articuno are basic, but they're thematically close.
Yeah.
And then the biggest thing about the legendary dogs is just getting them.
Right. But I feel like it was truly with Gen 3 where they started placing a heavier emphasis on the legendary Pokemon in their relationship with Pokemon.
Yeah, the very purpose, whereas Gen 1, Gen 2, they were there. Gold, Silver, they're the cover Pokemon over the starters, but you can go for the beat and not have to map.
The Terror of Death. So, question: with the introduction of Reggie Dragon and Reggie Electric, does this mean we're going to get a Reggie type Pokemon?
It would be nice.
That would be a cool lore thing.
Actually, there's a funny thing. I only follow basically one VTuber, and that's Cinder. She recently has getting tortured by her chat of her doing a voice for Reggie Elecki. It's a funny clip. But, like, the chat likes to poke at her by just the random phrases she says that kind of become internally mimetic. And yeah, I still need to finish Galar to get just either one of those.
But yeah, like, going through, like, Brilliant Diamond, it's, like, again, it's fine. It's a decent game. It's just, oh my god, people, Aldea does so many quality of life improvements that I'm like, I can't be without them again.
Yeah.
Like, the idea that I can, in Aldea, they were like, oh, you remember those Pokemon movies that you were remembering that you had to forget? Well, you can just remember them at any time. No hard scale involved.
Yeah, because the hard scale thing just got it irritating because they're exclusively rare for a single Pokemon you have to catch over and over and over again with no guarantees of getting them.
Right, but by having any Pokemon be able to remember any move at any time, that means you can think of it as like you're equipping different weapons.
Yeah, it's like, Paldea was definitely built for the competitive group, especially even like a changing metagame determined by what limitations there are on Pokemon you could play. That's the sense I get to why, one of the senses I get to why they didn't just import everything.
Wizard Wonders were actually heading to Sunny Shore City to fight the 8th gym leader.
They took all EV types before Reggie's. Yes. For the love of God, Gen 10, finally give us new EV illusions.
Give us the Dragon EV.
Finally.
Give us the Flying EV.
Finally.
Like, there are so many EVs yet to be done that it's insane that they haven't.
Also, TJ Mega's now a VTuber. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the synth voice he uses for that. And the fact that he is still managing to succeed in doing daily videos, like, props to the guy, especially because he runs a hobby store during the back half of the week.
TJ Toku, also on the topic of legendary Pokemon, I admit, if I ever got an Entei, I'd call it Dandream.
I'm not sure if the character to be seen would allow you to do that, but definitely Dan.
Green. And speaking of Pokemon, like, that's gonna be a wild death battle. Because of the Kickstarter, they said that they're gonna do Ash versus Yugi.
Oh.
Like, and that's gonna be wild because they're gonna have to. Because I think the logic is, the Pharaoh, I should say, has the ability to like do shadow game nonsense and make monsters real.
Well, the shadow game question will be because most of what Attempt did was penalty games as consequence of cheating. It'd be everybody else that would shed up the shadow game as a shadow condition thing.
Right, and that's like, I would love to. I'm gonna be excited for that one, not because I want one party to win over the other. It'll just be a, how did they make this work? Because I
know how they'll make it work.
What?
Pokemon card game battle.
Oh, that would be funny.
Yeah. Then again, like, Ash has 6 Pokemon, and rule changes to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game allows duelists to have 6 monsters out at the same time. The problem is just, like, Attempt does not know the actual rules to card game.
Right, and
that's all Yugi. Atem is constantly exploiting Yuki's knowledge on that.
So, Black Century King, what did a blind type Eevee based off of Griffin?
Be nice.
Laser Lord, give us the Ghost Eevee.
Do you want it dead?
No. Yo, a Ghost Eevee would just be Goth. Gothyon. It looks like it's step out of Hot Topic.
What would a fighting Eevee be like? Or Eevee evolution be like? Like, would it get up on its hind legs and punch things?
Yes, it would. It would actually stand up, be able to stand up.
No, a tail that's a giant, flail.
A giant flail tail, yeah.
Flail on a tail.
American flail. American tail of 5
Bradley Harris, I want to see Eevee with the 9 armors in a suit of armor. Cute.
Eevee in a suit of armor, like...
It's like have that Centurion brush helm
Yeah.
with its fur.
Yeah,
that pre-polluted the Mohawk.
yeah, that could actually work. Dear Crystal, do you think regional variants for Eevee?
Potentially, that would be the entire thing. I think people would get pissed at them not doing the evolutions, because when you think about it, some of the evolutions were already kind of just regional variations.
Right.
Evian and Umbreon was when they first did the Day 9 mechanics for friendship chains, and then with Gen 4, Leafeon and Glaceon were locked to specific areas because of the before they changed the evolution system for them. That proximity to them was required for their evolution. Oh no, this kid in a bathing suit is now being drenched by the snow.
Why would you do this to this poor child?
He challenged me.
That's right. You have to educate him. No, an Eevee with 2 tails with a tip fur shaped like fox.
Oh, so they do an arms thing.
Yeah. Laser Lord, quite type Eevee would just be really angry or really sad.
Yeah. Laser Lord, Bradley Harris. Now, Bradley would be a game with a headset called
Toxion. Yeah, that'd be funny. Freaking feedback.
I hate that you can't actually catch it fast in the game. The trainers have it, and it's elusive.
I actually think you can catch it. It's in Mount Hornet, but it's that stupid, like, they only spawn on specific tiles and are so rare that the process of getting it is annoying as heck.
So effectively, no chance.
Correct. Like, you're better off literally grabbing anything else.
Yeah, because when I tried looking it up, it said that you have to trade it into Gen 8. It's like, no.
Gyarados just screaming through. I love my Roserade because he's a fast little plant queen that just absorbs soul. have growth on still. I actually still kept growth on Roserade because on the off chance I just wanted, well, I could just do that twice and then
Its special attack goes through.
yeah, and its special attack is already ridiculous.
It's a legitimate strategy. Praise the Lord. And Gen 4 made getting feedbacks worse because it allows you to get a randomized by your trainer ID. Yeah.
It's like, why do that for a fish? I understand Milotic's a great Pokemon, but like getting Pokemon, like Paul Daya got this right. Getting your favorite Pokemon should not be an arduous challenge. It should just be fun. Like, how much fun did we have just flying around and zipping by and seeing, oh, there's something I don't have. You want to?
Yeah, it's like with the Reggies or the extra legendaries in Hoenn, it's like you have to do a lot of elaborate stuff for them, but that's supposed to be the final mystery of the game.
And it was also kind of cool stuff too, like learning how to use Braille and having to ask the question of what the heck were the Reggies even for.
And there's at least guides for all.
Yeah. And plus it all, like, Regigigas may not be the greatest Pokemon ever, but I mean, I like the idea of a Pokemon being so powerful, it moved continents, you know?
And then it's just so tired now that it slowly wakes up. Lately I've been thinking, what if Battlebond, the thing Ash Greninja had, was an actual mechanic in the game? It's not just something one Pokemon has. It would require a lot of extra programming, and I think that's just like a unique version of Mega Evolution. Because if they could easily just turn Ash Greninja into Mega Greninja. And I don't think anyone who did it would allow them to retain it.
Hello, we are three kids with backwards caps. Give us your soul. Give us your soul.
No.
Aww. We'll have to go to somewhere else now, kids.
Go be talking deep somewhere else.
Hi, Jasmine.
Oh, yeah, her.
Yeah, but we have to go talk to Volkner in the lighthouse.
Yeah, Jasmine's here because of the whole lighthouse thing, because that was her thing in Gen 2.
I actually like Jasmine as a design character.
Yeah, I remember liking that side story in Gen 2, even though it was a slog to go around for the quest.
But I like the idea of, like, the nice, quiet-looking girl, like, having steel Pokemon. Like, she looks cute, but could body you with a Steelix kind of thing. And, like, again, steel Pokemon can be easy to encounter with, like, water and fire and all that stuff, but, like, they also have Earthquake, so you best hope your guys are speedy.
The fact that the Steelix itself in Gen 2 and onwards was just a beast, despite its type weaknesses.
But also sturdy, like that can.
Oh, the Pokemon ability?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a thing of the most evil of strategies for a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Level 1 Aura.
Level 1. Oh, Era. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with Sturdy. And then you give it a, forgetting what the Pokemon move is, but the lower Pokemon's health and the damage it does.
Oh, Endeavor?
And Endeavor's the one where you survive.
But
I know, I'm
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Revenge?
Yeah, Revenge, I think.
Yeah, and then the more damage it does with the Shell Bell equipped, then it like restores itself to full health, and then that resets 30.
Honestly, this is gonna sound like a hot take, but I feel like Pokemon games should be fun first and have a competitive aspect like second.
It's like you shouldn't have to be a competitive player to complete a Pokemon game.
Correct. Like I shouldn't need like a bachelor's degree to like figure out things.
Yeah, and that's that contrast play with Nuzlocke. It's like Nuzlocke are self-imposed because Pokemon games should not be.
It should be like fun little experiences, and it's some challenge. Gym leaders are more challenging than others. Then yeah.
And again, points to Paldea for all the easy ability changes, easy stat improvements, easy experience gains, easy changes to movesets. Those are there so the competitive players that want to play competitively can have an easier time getting their team what they wanted to instead of having these huge time investments. The biggest issue there for anything is just like the super high power Pokemon all take an extremely inordinate amount of time to get correctly, like the Goldengo situation.
Everyone thinks with Goldengo, like why the end result is still a pretty beastly Pokemon.
Yeah.
So like it's annoying as heck, but I get why it's annoying as heck.
Yeah, because I caught all of the forgetting the coin Pokemon.
Gimmighoul?
Yeah, I caught every catchable Gimmighoul, and they all had terrible stats. This is another puzzle I like.
Oh yeah, I love these kind of puzzles. It satisfies my brain. And the one thing I will also say about electric types is that while you can body them with ground, it's like depending on the dual typing, they're not as straightforward.
Yeah, electric has a lot more things. Hell, if Chinchou and Lantern had better stat lines, they would be my go-to water type for Gen 2.
Ah, yes, the God Killer Pachiri. Have you heard that story?
That is, Pokemon stream thing.
Yeah, so basically what happened was, it was a competitive Pokemon match, and it was like the opponent, I want to say they had a Garchomp or some high-tier Dragon Pokemon, right? That was a pseudo-legendary. They Draco Meteored the Pachirisu. Somehow, Pachirisu lived, and then proceeded to body the two dragons.
Like you do.
I can't remember how the strategy was employed with everyone was like, oh my god, how are you able to... It was so funny because it's a Pachirisu, what are they gonna do to you?
What isn't the Pachirisu going to do to you?
Exactly. And also we need to take out some overtime hours.
Yeah. Just figure, sounds like Squirrel Girl ready to Pokemon, Lexi.
Yeah.
No, that's a Molga.
No, you did it right.
Oh, right, the one up top.
Yeah, you have to go left first.
Again, it's been
It's been a while.
long time.
It's been a while. Also, dude, hey, what the hell are you doing with Mr. Mime here?
Probably because Garchomps are the biggest threat to electric types in this region, and Mr. Mime post-Gen 6 is Psychic Fairy.
Yeah, that's true. Oh shit. Again,
Yeah, it's like Garchomps are not monsters anymore. Like, I kind of feel like the fairy type was created specifically to counter how powerful Garchomp is.
Liberation Wage Lord, that Pachirisu was apparently built a tank for the team. They specifically built it to be a tank, and that's amazing that somebody did that. Because you wouldn't expect it.
We're saying you didn't think Dan Crane could fit as a nickname, but you have a Garchomp named Crunchbite. Yes, and it's at the character limit. Whereas Dan Green needed the space to do the name correctly.
Hero of Death, damn it, Pokemon, stop messing with my fear of clowns and mines.
Also, stop putting people in onesies.
Oh, a little kid with his inner Pikachu.
It's like you'll never know when one of them is actually a Mimikyu in disguise.
Mimikyu! I'm looking for the trainer. Mimikyu! Okay, can we be real that Mimikyu is like a top tier edition of the Pokemon lore?
It was. In fact, if you want regional variants, there's the perfect one you could do it with. Like, give Mimikyu different disguises based around different other Pokemon and change it. Well, actually, you don't even need to change it. Give it allow it to have different possibilities.
Yeah.
How Rotom is. Or the costume Pikachu variants.
Yo, but seriously, the lore behind Mimikyu is so terrifying. Or like it's adorable, but also you don't want to see under the hood. You also saw what was underneath the new what Mimikyu really looked like,
And it changed forever.
There will always be a Team Rocket.
The fact that you use the anime voice actors lines for Pikachu now in the games, like you will never escape them.
Still find it.
I still find it. I'm forgetting her name, but now she needs to voice a puppy. So that you have her as a mouse, like a cat, and a dog.
I can still find it out how to use the voice.
On top of Iris?
She is the voice of the E.
Huh.
No, that's how you get the fighting type. You give it Gungnir.
Did you know if you do the games that do with the captain's hat yet? That should have been the surfing Pikachu when they gave them costumes and type changes, but I don't think they did for that.
Black Century King, you know, especially I love the Xenoblade series, the one thing I cannot stand is getting one-shotted by high-level enemies who pop out of nowhere. That's the best part, though. I love going through a level and thinking I'm all safe, then out of nowhere, here comes the giant level 80 monkey.
Which you don't realize simply because it's been ignoring you up until now.
Right, and I love that. The idea that the enemy is so much stronger than you, that it's not attacking you, it's deliberately letting you live.
Yes. They've said, I mean, she is also the voice of Chopper in One Piece. Raccoon dogs don't count.
You're not a raccoon!
The joke.
puzzles because they're just satisfying enough, but also it's just the gears. I love how the gears run.
Honestly, if this is all gear-based mechanics, they shouldn't have had an issue with electrical outage. Maybe saying also noticing one of the bad guys at Pokemon Horizons. Just because Aoi Yuki is everywhere.
I think he doesn't want his chopper one.
We keep getting our lines crossed on Yoshi pieces. So, I'm still forgetting the name. Like, I hate I am as terrible at naming their names.
By the way, hot take. I think Bolo is slightly better when using Earthquake. Okay, Earthquake has the power, don't get me wrong. I just think that having the ability to guarantee speed lowering for a ground type move is great.
Ikue Otani. I was constantly forgetting that.
Hey, look, it's the fourth Okage.
Ralliers, what kind of rock star is named Preston? Have you never heard of Bill S. Preston and Ted Pete or Little Logan?
Dr. Brock, Doc Ock, and Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, my biggest issue with Bolos is just, it's weak.
Yeah.
It's like, speed stat doesn't stat as much matter against one of the fastest Pokemon in the game.
Hey, Choco, what region do you think is the best non-battle related side content in Pokemon?
I was a kind of a contest fiend in Gen 3.
The contests were really fun.
Yeah, it became so involved to train the stats.
Yeah, it's true, but I like the idea of taking existing game mechanics and then flipping them on their head because... And then I also got a satisfaction from getting a field bonus and like screwing over everybody else.
Like, my Blaziken in Gen 3 was a beauty queen.
What? A Blaziken being a beauty queen? I'm shocked. Shocked, taken. That's shocked. It's a nice stream so far, isn't it? Hey, we're missing something though.
Did chat annoying me enough to yell at them?
Oh, well, that. Puns.
No.
Hey, Chad, do you want to hear puns? No. Chad, no. I need you to give me your energy.
No.
I need the power of the... You need to give me the... Unleash the seal. Let me speak puns.
No.
Why?
No.
But don't you want to have a blast, though?
No.
Not your cup of tea. Praise the Lord. No, go to the corner, Alexis. Hey.
All of our quarters have things in them.
At least that means I cornered the market of puns.
Boo.
Praise the Lord, you set me up for that one. DJ Toku, ... Sorry, the sound died out. What Alexis saying? Victor Garcia. No. Garo. No, your jokes are too charged. That's it. Would I be me without my puns?
No.
I'm so excited for Super Pokemon Day. Like,
Maybe we can finally get news on the entire match with the pre-orders.
yeah, and like, I look at Super Robot Wars and announcement streams as less like, oh, how good is the game gonna be, but rather giving the mecha community a chance to like rally together and discuss their favorite. Right?
It's like if they will do the physical special edition for U.S. distribution, like, I hate Bandai of America's website for that because they vastly overcharge for shipping. But if it's something I really want to support, I'll do it. It's just their site should not be set up that way. They should still be going to fucking retailers. There is no reason for the site exclusivity, and that goes across the board for anybody that's doing it.
Yeah. And
You're making it more difficult for anyone to get your games, and that is just bad across the board.
good now. There we go.
Jeez, Shave is heading home Saitama.
No, I already saw him at the fourth Hokage. It's the hair. Will this match have a shocking development? What's the deal with electric types?
Motherfucking surfing Raichu.
Also, I will give props to like trying to Pokemon like eat berries to try to.
It's the damage reduction variant.
Yeah.
Like, the last game, despite introducing them, at least I thought they might have introduced here. It's like, introducing them to do that one-off is not a bad thing.
So like you are vastly stronger. Also, random Octillery. Because why does he have an Octillery?
There aren't enough electric types in the region.
And like I feel like that's indicative of the game, overall problem. If you're before post game, if your gym leaders don't have a team to fully hit it out for what their typing is, what are you doing here?
The only other explanation I have is it's kind of ground type, so you don't expect the water type to be mixed in.
some of feasting on your soul.
Pop mistake. The Pikachu line loading surface is a reference to the anime, I think. It's actually a reference to one of the original Pokemon promotional cards. They also had Flying Pikachu that way, where it had a bunch of balloons tied around its waist that, like, they became such mimetic things simply because this was around the time of the Pika Blue rumors that eventually turned into Feral.
Oh, I need to ask this question, but it's not like a high priority thing, but I would like to go shopping for like a more like my own cooking supplies. Like I'm not talking like ingredients, I'm talking about like mixing bowls.
Oh yeah, we have a variety, but I guess we're just missing some things.
Yeah, because I made baked chicken for John the other day that was healthy and tasty and stuff, but I didn't have like everything I needed, so I just, if I'm gonna be cooking more healthy meals, I want to make sure I have all the tools I need.
There.
And I finally, that baked chicken recipe I did find, I made a meal. It was a good chicken.
Yeah, we can go and do that after we get done today.
Oh, okay, thank you. Because, like, for example, the recipe called for like brining chicken in a large bowl, and when I went looking for them, we had like those small mixing bowls. Like,
and you didn't want to use the larger metal.
Yeah, like, or rather, I didn't know where the larger metal ones were.
Like, they should be in the cabinet with all the other mixing supplies unless somebody's in the...
Well, you'll have to show me, like, all the other... The point is, we'll make stock of what we do have, what we don't have.
Yeah. And I've seen you guys using that glass, cooking thing that's usually for based material. The basic compounds. Frequently.
Also, like, cooking, like, my thing.
Yeah.
If we want to really beat Pikachu's line, we toss bottles of ketchup to them.
Yeah.
That was cute in the original anime. Liz of Wonders, isn't Volkner Barry's father? No, but Barry's father is somewhere else. He's like the Battle Power champion or something.
Oh yeah, there's no battle powers. That was also something I did a lot at Emerald, and just I had no patience of it in Gen 4.
Frontier, I never got a chance to really dig into, but I would love for that concept to come back, but with like the modern gaming convention.
I was surprised how far I got into that with Blaziken, Sceptile, and Swampert.
I mean, they're a pretty balanced team. It was me, Barry. It was I.
Too weak.
It's like, I admittedly like the Battle Frontier Battle Power stuff in like the earlier gens. That is where my Pokemon journey stopped because
Like, people who want Pokemon Heart Mode, that's Pokemon Heart Mode.
Yeah, and to me, it did become fun because it required me to learn. It would require me learning things that, well, I didn't have. I'm a little kid with like zero patience. I mean, so why would I sit around learning math?
Yes. Why would you math? It's math.
I'm not gonna have to. I don't want to math unless I have to math. You know. But also, I feel like Pokemon. That's not what Pokemon should like. I want to say
It's about the journey, not the destination.
it's like if your post-game content involves more battling, but like under like super strict conditions, I don't really consider that to be a true post-game experience. I consider like Gen 2 for me is like that's probably one of the contenders for best post-game, if only because you had a whole you could really explore Kanto again. But like because of how you approach it, you're not approaching the same cities in the same order. You know?
Yeah. Like, I'm not a fan of Gen 2, but that's just because I don't like Gen.
Which that's fair. But I will say that I love the idea of fighting Red. Like like a top tier super boss in my opinion. Like you just meet him on top of Mount Silver, silent, and just like that is throwing like 90s at you.
70s, 80s.
70s and 80s, but
99, 99, 99.
Mob Psycho 900? 100?
Actually, you want to know what I continue to find funny?
But
Like, how much Gyarados is OP in this game? Because one of the first moves it learned was Waterfall.
really?
Yeah. And since Gyarados are more physical attackers, which is why I never took it off. Land Shark is walking on water.
Is a land shark Jesus? But there is one thing from Robot Wars Y that I am actually looking forward to. Or Suletta's reaction to like the hordes of Getter. There's a giant red scary monster! What giant red scary monster?
Wrong.
Oh. Like, talk about
Existential nightmare.
what, like, here's where Witcher Mercury's, like, horror comes from. Then there's Getter, you know? Like, I mean, all the other series they produce kind of get closer to the Getter, but poor Suletta, like, she's never seen anything that horrifying. Garchomp learned Waterfall. How's it getting up the waterfalls? Is it surfing and it just shows Garchomp like walking up the waves?
Like the Batman and Robin bit in the Adam West series.
Yeah.
Dude, so is Jeff the Land Shark a Pokemon? Possibly.
Jeff the Land Shark is everything.
Like, I think of more of a Sharpedo than a Garchomp, so...
Oh, but there is one certain thing I realized I definitely need another one of. I need better pants. Or like at least a new pant. Like all the ones that I have, like their bottoms are getting all scratched up.
Ah.
And like that's a signifier that I need to like they're functional, don't get me wrong. It's just I know they can be better.
Yeah. Shoot. You're mashed for the stab or extreme speed because extreme speed.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what I did. I kept meteor. 'Cause
Extreme speed is just really good.
True,
And this way I've got a good balance, and I don't want to lose terrain punch.
right.
Occasionally I do put extreme speed on. I like the higher accuracy moves.
Yeah. But it's fair. It's I feel like the stab tends to win out a bit more. I will never get over the fact that they made this thing walk on land.
Yeah.
It's cruel or whatever, and it's just like Squidward tentacles. Oh, I remember that's a dark memory from like a horrifying memory from playing Fire Red and Leaf Green. When the muck uses minimize.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't have an 100% accuracy move on you.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that traumatized me against lower accuracy.
Yeah, because like the minute minimize starts, if it minimizes too much, you're not hitting that thing.
No.
Not unless you want to first wait that son of a gun. Even saying it did not help with the fact that it's Getter Arc. The most intimidating of Getter Robo is that she'll see.
Those freaking teeth.
Yeah, like the fact that it's canonically rips and tears until it's done. Lots of people turn Suletta into a god killer and then like have her fight the Emperor or some ungodly cosmic horror.
What if Wish for Mercury Season 2 is one of the DLCs for the game?
I would not be opposed to that idea.
Because, like, there's not a lot more in Season 2, battle-wise or story-wise, that they couldn't fit in.
Right. Like, I think we will really have to see what the rest of the series are for us to get an idea of what they're going for. Because when 31st got announced, they started announcing the other series, I'm like, wait, none of these feel like they're fitting together.
They could feasibly do Endless Waltz with Resurrection.
They could, yeah.
And likewise fit in after War Gundam X for that anniversary tip-off.
Yeah, because I will say it and say it again. For me, the Illusion of the Resurrection's biggest failing wasn't the initial premise of bringing Lumen back. It was how it goes about things. Like, how, it never really explains how the mercenary country works, which it doesn't. Where the freaking Zoid come from, you know what I mean? Like, the fact that it meanders for so long. Like,
The fact that over half the movie is just the same fight scene recurring endlessly, so the actual character stuff gets thrown out the window.
Right, and it's just how the story is told is so bad that it makes you want to hate the original concept in the first place, even if right?
Yeah. Like, we will never shit on Resurrection. Rose is its own brand of bad. But Resurrection, that was the breaking point for a lot of people, because they screwed up what people cared about.
DJ Toku, if you had to be a type specialist, what type would it be? For me, it'd be fire.
Lightning or Psychic?
Dragon.
Dragon's up there too.
Like, no, that for me, I would be a dragon.
You'd go full Iris?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I could. What, you don't see me, like, just taming a Rayquaza and, like, doing the Gunbuster pose?
Oh, I see it. I kind of feel like my specialty would be my special Pokemon for a Psychic Gym would be like Jirachi or Victini.
Yeah, you honest, yeah.
Speaking of which, we need Victini back in a Pokemon game. Like, I don't know if there was a special encounter event for Gen 8, but It's just like, I feel like that's one of the legendary Pokemon that seems underrepresented.
I'm playing a dragon, a band of dragons, and if I couldn't use Rayquaza,
I mean, Garchomp, Hydreigon, those are two heavy hitters.
yeah, they're Salamence. That's all.
You could just have the oddball type, Tyranitar in there, because that's basically the pseudo legendary dragon in Gen 2.
Yeah, that I think that would be it. 'Cause I really like Larvitar. But honestly, I think that the other strength of Pokemon games is that there's so many opportunities there to have their own expression in their team build. Like here's the competitive, here's how you win the game answer, and here's the screw you, I wanted
this cute or edgy looking thing.
right. Like here's my little ugly clock champ.
Ooh, Flygon.
Flygon, yes. I would totally ride with Flygon.
There are so many good Pokemon in Gen 3.
It is so goated with how good they all are. Also, Gen 3 gave us Flannery, so you can
Oh yeah.
like, come on, a hot redhead with a crop top who who trains in a volcanic area.
And in Omega Alpha, she is a complete dork.
Yeah, like, come on, like, what am I, inhuman? Another one of those Pokemon that I wish like, water flying to me, like, I just think of electric types, and I just get scared off by it.
And I go laugh.
Oh, that,
So if you had to pick a starter Pokemon as your partner, who'd you pick? I'd pick Cynical, Equipment, Sweet, Sweet, and
or can we see our answer at the same time?
3, 2, 1.
Mudkip.
Chick.
That's it. I could be the leader of a dragon type gym, but then I could just I would just have a partner Mudkip. Like, just imagine.
Gen 3, I still consider the best of the starter groupings. Like, no, dissing the original trio. They're iconic for a reason, but the Gen 3 group are just perfect.
They are perfectly cute and cuddly at first, but then each of them turn into like
outright monsters. The fact that Sceptile is one of the best grass single types.
Like Swampert's no slouch. Yeah.
Don't like the concept of the Switch 2 editions of games up that they do once for Xenoblade 2 and 3 add new rare blades and heroes. Like, I can kind of see like the Switch 2 upgrade thing. Some of that is cost effective. Like the price increase for Switch 2 games across the board, yeah, that's again. He had a whole big thing about talking about that last week. And yeah, even for printing those games, it's all the price increases are exactly in line with the consequences of tariffs still. And the Switch improved games, I think that's also a cost evaluation based on you have to keep Switch games at a specific price point. You can't wiggle out of that because of the expectations of prices there. Switch 2 games, no new console, new pricing. And you also need programming compatibility for just all the new features that are part of the Switch 2, like screen sharing, that have different requisites to do them. So it's like, the price increase is still nonsense, but then you think of it as, even with the consequences of tariffs, it's still one of the cheaper consoles of the next generation of them that's on the market. Nintendo has two modes. Don't reinvent the wheel and radically reinvent the wheel.
To the point where you're like, wait, why did you
Whereas the Switch is a strong enough console, it just needs a bunch of features. Needed a bunch of features for streaming and party access, which they've always been behind on, despite being the party company, or the party game company. Because they think of it from a Japanese perspective of, okay, we're in a densely populated area, we don't need to worry about not being able to go see friends. And then the pandemic happened, and all of that chat box stuff from everybody else, they finally realized what it was there for.
Back to the, this is like my stream of consciousness. You know what the gym leader that I actually liked? Player from Gen 2.
Yeah, the first dragon one.
Yeah, not only because of the dragon typing and her design just being, you know, gorgeous, but I like the idea of a gym leader going, wait, you beat me? No, screw you! I don't recognize this. Like having a sore loser, like a sore loser personality, which I know some people may not vibe with that, but I kind of liked it because it distinguishes her from somebody all the other who just take their defeat in praise, but only one stood up and said, nah, screw you, I'm going somewhere else.
And the gyms are there to be beaten. There are tracks for progress in other trainers, and it's like you can't beat them. It shows that you need to train more to get your Pokemon to where they need to be.
DJ Toku asking the real question. What date would you go on? A mountain hike with Flannery or a lake date with Nessa? Pick Nessa from Galar. She was the water gym leader.
That went fanatic how many people were into her.
Yeah. Mountain hike with Flannery every single day. Nothing against Nessa, but like the type of girl Flannery is, like that's my vibe right there. Huge redhead with a spunky personality. Like, come on, people, you know me right now.
Plus, I think a lot of the stuff that people find sexy about Nessa are like mimetic additions from fandom instead of things actually about her.
Right.
Like, you impose a personality instead of accept what's there.
Now the question was a mountain hike with Flannery or a dinner date with Cynthia. Now you're asking me some tough bets. Here. But thanks to the anime, we also know that Cynthia is that type of I'm so cool and sophisticated in the heat of battle, but I'm also a huge dork if you look away for 5 seconds.
She's a more mature version of Ash and Nimona.
Yes.
I see all of them sharing the same brain cell.
Oh my god, can you imagine if they ever made a power team of just those three? Like, huge scary...
Like, this is why we had to get Ash out of the anime, because if Nimona was around for that championship tournament and it was all 3 of them, it's like...
They would be gone, you do realize that, right? Yeah. We played I'll tell you, we know for a fact that when Nimona lost the player character, her response wasn't just, oh, I lost, that's a shame. She was like, I have more Pokemon I can fight you with. Come on,
She has no off switch.
Let's go.
She wants to battle people so much she trained up a completely team beside us just so she could battle us constantly.
Like,
I love her for that.
Like, she is basically, like, she is us. Like, she is any player that went out of their way to train up a type of Pokemon, and no matter what, like, they train up one Pokemon for each type or whatever, and then proceeds to make a whole other separate team with different strategies.
I'm not even against the Yandere Nimona thing, as much as other people do, because it's like, it's just the overeager emphasis part of the Yandere, not the full, I will kill you if you don't love me nonsensical Yandere.
Like, all those fan arts that had Nimona where Goku's, like, that was funniest.
Yeah.
Hey.
There are right ways to write about it.
Yeah, it's like, man, my Pokemon's team is pretty strong. Nimona busts down the door. How strong are they?
Like, she's never discouraging.
No, in fact, if anything, she's constantly hoping, like, you get better. Like, she's the friend that will be happily clobber you in a card game, but she'll also point out different tricks you can use to get better.
Bongara always swayed more towards B, and I never understood why she didn't get more popular. I think she is in other regions, but it's like Soccer Girl. Soccer does not catch on in North America.
DJ, I do think Scarlet and Violet has the best squad with the lead, Nimona, Arvin, and Penny.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Like
you're secretly helping Penny. Arvin is a bit standoffish to start out, and then you see why he's like that, and it's like it clicks.
Like, Arvin's a sweet boy that wants to help his dog not die, and is that not the most cutest thing ever?
Yeah. It's just, he gives off a terrible person.
Yeah, which I think
that's my only critique.
But I think that was, like, the idea. Like, it's a critique. Like, I think it's that's what we're going for, but they probably did it
they overdid it a bit.
Yes, I can agree. And also the fact that the final punch of the main story is a raid on Area Zero. Like, you have to defeat the champion, and then you do the raid, and then you're...
No, you don't just have to beat the champion, you have to do these 3 story acts.
Right, and the fact that it's like, here's the culmination of all these shitty stories that we've been building up throughout the course of the game. It feels like a...
And then it's not even the post-game.
Right, that's not even the post-game. Like, it's a distinct narrative.
Yeah, and the fact that you have 3 solid acts, technically, a multi-chapter story arc as you explore the main area, and then you have additional acts for exploration.
Mm-hmm. And, like, every time you get an upgrade for, like, you know, your ride to, like, travel around Aldea, it makes you feel like actual progression more than just, here are my Pokemon evolving, you know?
Like, it probably put the most value into any Pokemon game. Like, I don't care if you dislike the bugs, there's more than enough there to just disregard it. As long as your game is not constantly crashing, which every now and then, okay, still irritating, but without the game auto-saves progress, you're not losing a lot.
I feel like the raid system should be a bit better, and especially with the more challenging ones.
Variants, yeah. Like those, especially the ones they would put in as events.
Yeah,
those were evil. They were Disney evil.
DJ Toku, plus the banter with the squad when you dive into areas.
Yeah. You don't see group discussions much in Pokemon games. I think the most we got was just the group of friends in Gen 6.
Yeah.
And I didn't play enough of Gen 7 to see much of that group interact.
And honestly, Melissa Lewis, like, do you agree with the Joker versus Giorno death battle? Yes. Joker did, because now this is the point that, like, some people had contention with, is because in that death battle they gave Joker access to the social link thing to let him obtain D'Artagnan.
Yeah, because like that's a connected ability of wild cards,
right.
So it's part of their basic ability set.
Right, and the reason why, like, this isn't me playing devil's advocate, but the against argument was technically social links are outside help. However, like, that is something that the Joker will inherently do throughout the course of the story.
Yeah, and it's not exactly luck power it continuously get from other people. It's a mutual growth dynamic.
Right.
As your partners grow stronger, you grow stronger because of it, and you unlock more innate abilities of the wild card from it. So once you get it, you don't lose it just because you're away from other people.
Right. And plus, now then the question became, how would the Jokers resist Golden Experience Requiem? Their logic was to thanks to they were kind of scaling Joker off of Yunar and Kami a little bit in terms of what the Fool Arcana can do.
Yeah. But
But
like, put it in a different way. the social link system are how the wild cards evolve, and
Yeah.
so Centennial is just they own Arsene's own persona.
Yeah. Basically, their argument was Centennial and by extension the Joker wild card, once they obtained the world status, they became immune to a certain level of like reality warping.
Which is the point of the wild card versions.
Exactly, and Gold Experience Requiem thing is reset to 0, which is a form of reality manipulation right there. So, like, the power output that Centennial and, like, the likes of even Izanagi no Okami were capable of, like, basically, the base shit that Joker takes out, it's way more terrifying and powerful than whatever Giorno did.
Yeah, and how you described this originally, if it's a cosmic reset button, how do you cosmically reset?
Exactly, and that's the thing. That's what Death Battle decided. You can't do that.
Yeah.
That, like, you could reset attacks happening to you,
Or evolution based on an external factor, but if the persona's evolution is tied to the person's character growth, then you could reset the evolution, and then their character growth be ubiquitous to their own apioth. I can't.
I know what you're trying to say.
Like evolution beyond divine evolution. That's what apiothis. That's the wrong term. It would just snap it right back.
Right, and thus, like, Joker won. But one of the things I actually did like was how they framed their Death Battle as Joker invading Giorno's palace.
I mean, would Giorno really be destroying enough the palace?
Well, I get the idea. It's a bit fanficky, but I guess the idea is Giorno hears about a mob boss guy, and then maybe Giorno got a bit too big for his britches when he got Gold Experience Requiem or something. But
yeah, because like palaces form from distortions of self, and those are not internally triggered.
right. Either way, I like it. It was a cute little way of tying in the more modern Death Battles try to have like more story reasons for why.
Instead of doing stuff with random, like Epion versus the White Tiger's Order, Pinkie Pie versus Starscream.
Although, at least Pinkie Pie versus Starscream, I love that one because of just how stupid it is.
It's like, I was in college when Epion versus White Tiger's Order happened. I think that was probably my first real introduction. No, my first real introduction was when my internet friend Akuma TH did the sprite work for Toph for Gara versus Toph.
Yeah. GER developed the kind of power needed to beat Diablo and fulfill its purpose. Oh, and it wasn't Pinkie Pie, it was Rainbow Dash.
No. Pinkie Pie hit was against
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
And then that one just evolved into chaos.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my mistake. I don't regularly watch Death Battles, have to remember all of these off the top of my head. That's my bad.
But basically, what that Death Battle proved is that Persona users are like in class in of themselves. So like the only other Persona JoJo matchup you could do that I would really like is Adachi versus Kiro Yoshikage. Only because Adachi has like his own Izanagi, doesn't mean he's as powerful as Yunar Kami.
NF66, I love Toph Gar should have won that fight in his curb style. I think the rationale is Naruto was still ongoing at that point, whereas this was pre-Korra for Toph.
Right, and also, like, again, with those older, some Death Battles definitely deserve a run back, because I think if you were to take Toph and Gar now, considering, like, Gar's level of sand manipulation, it far exceeds Toph's ability. Because, like, I think, like, at the time, they were pretty...
At the time. That's just... You have to put it in that period of time. It's like if they were... It's like constantly redoing Goku versus Superman. There are others that need that redo simply because new stuff came out with featuring those characters that would have skewed the ratings.
And speaking of, like, one of these upcoming Death Battles is Master Chief versus the Doom Slayer.
Inspiration versus evolution.
Yeah, because, like, when Master Chief first fought the Doom guy, Master Chief won because while the Doom guy was technically tougher, he had the better variety of weapons to handle whatever situation the Doom guy threw at him. But then the Doom remake happened.
Yeah.
Where the Doom guy didn't just become the Doom guy anymore. He became a force of nature that made hell quake. The thing that demons came to fear.
So, I mean, Rainbow vs. Starscream is fucking hilarious in hindsight since MLP and Transformers have now crossed over in comics.
Yeah.
I used to read a MLP fanfic that died well over 15 years ago that had Armada Starscream isekai to Equestrian. Like, that was a thing. That was an entire trope for a while. And this was before the isekai boom of anime, by the way.
Bradley Harris, does anyone else find Death Battle going shown in the anti-characters kind of unfair given how ludicrous the power scaling on a shonen series? Not necessarily, because
It can depend.
it can really depend, because when you're looking at the shonen series itself, power scaling is ridiculous, but then you take that shonen character outside of their universe, and then you start to see, how much of a small fish they are in a big pond, because that's why that Goku vs. Superman was so popular, because Goku's so strong and Superman's so strong, and they should clearly be able to beat each other or whatever, and
Even when I would do the who would win the fight arguments for Kamen Rider, I was still keeping it within the same franchise and effective universe for all that, so it's just power tier scaling that stays internal. Whereas Death Battle, it's like anything goes. And that was kind of my counter-argument, because I really wasn't into Death Battle that much, because internal universe scaling is different than external universe scaling. You know, that's quite fun of Death Battle, but sometimes those things don't skew correctly. And that's why some people get mad when their fave loses.
One Death Battle matchup that I really liked in last season was Mikoto versus Killua. They're more masters of electricity, but Mikoto's manipulation of her, specialty is just
electromagnetism. Versus just electricity.
Right. She's able to do more so with her abilities than Killua was, and I love how they incorporated the fact that because of how espers work in Next Universe, they have to be constantly taking complex gigabrains.
Yeah.
You know, because when you see them in action, you don't really, the viewer doesn't really think about it that much, but it's easy to forget.
Yeah. And again, she's the third strongest on the science side, which allows her to compete with actual magic gods on the magic side.
666, why did the Gundam get a lack colony? He had the technology to build the orbital solar ring and towers, but no effort went into colonies that would have had an easier time with solar rings.
The setting of Gundam 00 is they're not at the colony point yet. They were about to transition to that, and that was what the larger conflict of the story was, as it was in danger of devolving to the UC Gundam Federation timeline bullshit again. In fact, that's the entire counter-argument, because if you watch the Japanese version, the main villain of the longer Gundam 00 narrative is voiced by Amuro Ray's voice actor. It's the counter-argument to, we don't have to get to this dystopic point in Universal Century if we make the right decisions.
Watch Venom at some point. We need selection more than ever. It's getting dark outside.
It's the clouds coming in. But yeah, Gundam 00, the Anno Domini timeline, Universal Century is supposed to be hundreds of years in the future. Anno Domini is supposed to be near future. So again, more realistic tech expectations, so solar panels are easy to do. Orbital rings are feasible for us to do, even though we still need to figure out the engineering to actually get the tower, the tall elevators figured out. Colonies, year by year, are looking less viable technologically. Kind of like going to Mars and inhabiting Mars outside of just domes. Tokyo, Double O did have colonies, just the ones we saw Luya attack. Yeah, but my point is, they're not ubiquitous. They have some, but they're not there where they're in mass implementation. It's like, even the Universal Century began after their space race allowed them the technological level to be able to regularly do space colonies. The Double O setting's not quite there yet. Or rather, they're getting directly to that point.
By the way, actually, I would kill for a new high grade of that. The flag units.
Wanted to capture that, not kill it, but whatever. Black Century. One MLP Skypick I remember is the one where an arrogant SPD Green Ranger before JJ was a thing got transported to a cross stream and pissed off everyone for no reason. The thing about the fix was certain characters are new Power Ranger based off a sort of combination of MMPRC all force and this. Yeah, it's just an OC bullshit things. Like, we don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Would you rather live in Wing, Seed, or Double O worlds before the start or after the end of their series?
We've had this discussion once before, like off scripted.
I think we might have,
Because,
like, I am way into the Star Trek Federation exploratory ideal of humanity, so I kind of want to be post-series Double O because not only do you have aliens and you've gotten to peace with them, but you're on the verge of actually doing the whole Star Trek exploratory universe thing.
I agree. I'm with you there. I like Gundam Seed, but Gundam Double O's like post world story, like how peace was achieved and how communication did lead to like better things for everybody.
Yeah, like Seed's narrative is digging where the failures of Universal Century Gundam zag and calling out extremism. Gundam Double O is we're going to avoid the UC timeline entirely. Whereas, Wing's entire thing is, rebel against the idea of war is used as the proxy for political games of power. Which is, again, most defines the archetype of, any of the AU timeline Gundam series as being a thematic narrative critique of areas Universal Century Gundam did not explore, or their respective shortcomings. It's like, again, it doesn't make UC Gundam bad to have these things necessarily, but there are a lot of ways in which the original UC series are deficient, primarily because of the Taminoisms over time breaking the setting.
DJ Toku, I'd love to see post Double O crossover with Macross and Battleship Yamato in a fix.
I mean, we got that in Super Robot Wars V. That was for Double O and Yamato. They were technically different universes, but they were two of the first to cross over, and their narratives were merged throughout a large portion of V's narrative. So yeah, I've advertised Super Robot Wars V a lot. That's probably your best angle on that. Macross, though, that would need to be crossed over into it, and hopefully now that they're doing Macross and Super Robot again, they can.
Yeah, I would love that, and it's just Macross is like has such a specific way of going about space exploration that it can open up so many different avenues for how a story can now progress because, like, you know, Macross Frontier, they're trying to find the center of the galaxy or whatever. You know,
But they're black holes.
well, it was more of a metaphorical. They were just journeying throughout space and seeing what they could find. Like, I think of Frontier as what would happen if you combine Voyager and Deep Space Nine together.
Okay, I still need to show you Voyager, though.
I really want to, like, I mean, based off of what you told me, Voyager was, like, they were on an experimental starship, and then they got a black hole into
Crushed by the weight of their own ambition. Half the crew is supposed to be rebels, and then they just kind of ignored that aspect of the plot after.
Yeah, but, like, I want to see Voyager in its entirety, warts it all.
Yeah. We'll get to it eventually. It's a large time investment that we can't exactly do with huge schedules.
DJ Toku, oh, is Macross in the new SRW? I've avoided trailers.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Macross Delta, Passionate Walkude. It's, so basically, I'm just gonna, like, one of the things I love about Macross is that they have the main series have continuity, but as far as the movies go, they say, oh, this is also canon, like, in the sense that this is just another version of how events played out. You know what like, I know how that usually goes, but what I'm getting at is they deliberately designed each Macross entry to be consumed by itself. You know what I mean? Like, you know, with the Universal Century, you kind of need to see the base Gundam series before you see Data.
And basically, any Sunrise series, if they have the compilation movie, you have to see the original before you see the
right. But with the Macross series, you technically don't need to see the base series before you see the compilation. It informs a lot of what the movie does differently, but it's by no means a requirement. If that makes any sense? And so they're using the movie specifically because how, like, the character of Hayate Imomen, like, in the base series, he started off as nobody before he joined the military, but apparently in the movie, he's just already there. Right? So it's just
skipping a bit.
Skipping a little bit, but not by much. And the reason why they're probably doing the movie is because that means they could transition into the sequel, which was Zettai Live, which I kept hearing from people is really fucking good and made people cry like babies.
966. I know people don't like it, but I would love to see Robotech and Super Robotech. I would love to see Robotech meets Macross story.
Oh, no. True Robotech.
First of all, they've already individually... The series that were gutted to make Robotech have already been in earlier Robot Wars. So, which treated the series as they should be, as individual entities into and of themselves. So, Robotech's... narrative merger, that ain't happening again.
Josh? Yeah. DG Toku, apparently it was really good. Yeah, so, also Zettai Live had the classic, you know, here's our main team of idols, now meet the evil, psycho version of these idols. They literally did here's the evil team.
Now, plus, since it's the Japanese product first, with no regard for the American bastardization, it's like, if they ever did that to Joji Kawamori, they would piss him off so badly, they would never be able to get a license for anything else he was ever involved in. So they'd probably blacklist anything from Satellite as well, and Japanese companies like to maintain good relationships with their, not siblings, but not siblings, not rivals, but peers.
Yeah, that peers. Josh Allen, would it be cool if Super Robot Wars Y saw the return of the Cross Age cast?
I wouldn't be opposed, but they would have to be AU'd into it. It's just like, just by their stories setting an engine, that would need to be a requirement, and Super Robot Wars has been overusing the isekai to somewhere else story engine too much.
For a little, yeah.
Like, yes, that's how you do some of that crossover. It can't be the largest emphasis for it, but you can do settings where you don't need to spirit someone away into the universe to do everything. Super Robot Wars T was very, very close to keeping everything in a consistent, cohesive narrative setting, and then the only exception was like just Ray or memory. Sure.
Divine and Rare.
Yeah.
But at least there, they didn't make like they kind of tied it into the overall plot that like
and those weren't obtrusive because those series involve isekai to start with, so it's inherently native to their stories versus you have to add the story element to them that they've been taken out of their natural setting. Yeah, since it's been done too much among the recent Super Robot Wars, I think they need to step back from that, especially due to how overwhelmingly overused isekai narrative tropes have been in media the last several years. Like, I like a fair number of isekai stories. Red Rage Isekai is probably going to be my favorite anime of the year, but I don't want to be I don't want it to be shoved into everything as a cheap, easy excuse for storytelling. It becomes, not only overdone, but lazy past its
DJ Chosen, just as an aside, I think Do You Remember Love still looks incredible even now. And yes, it does. Like, Do You Remember Love is probably one of my, if not, Jurassic Park is my favorite movie of all time. Do You Remember Love, it has to be like my second favorite because of just, like, it stands alone. It does require watching some of the base Macross to, get what it's going for. But once it starts doing its own thing and, like, the animation is, like, so jaw-dropping, I'm like,
if the animation is good enough, then the medium and period in which it was done doesn't matter. Like,
yeah,
classic era Disney animation still looks great.
And like the overall message of Do You Remember Love is the humanity not only is in space, but they came across another culture, and this song they found was just a regular love song, and the idea that no matter what the culture is, no matter where you are in the world, we all have some sort of shared commonality that we can all rally behind.
They're gonna write you a love song. Yes.
No, literally, like, the day is saved because Min-Mei sings Do You Remember Love, and it's the most jaw-dropping sequence because, like, it's perfectly, the music is perfectly timed, the action is, like, rapid fire, and just, it's so good.
Oh my god, why will you just not die?
Die, Blissey! Come, you fool! Also, I was been thinking about this, but if Simple Human wasn't why, oh my god, do you realize how many bad ends Hibiki could solve by herself? You're cold?
It's a one-hit KO move, but it has such a low accuracy that I hate it.
Yeah.
Like, I remember Guillotine being the big chase TM of Giovanni's gym. And I thought it was a cool move in Gen 1 because it's not one-hit KO, and then you start to realize the accuracy to this is garbage. This is the hold items to improve accuracy. David said, maybe this is why we'll do what they did in the Z series, not the universes fused together due to a plot bias in one of the theories. Part of the problem is that's what they did for 30, and they kind of ruined it because of how poorly it was implemented.
Because, like, I got on this earlier, but, like, when I started seeing the series at 30 was I was immediately confused because I knew some of them could work together well. Others, I was like, okay, are they just in here because you put them in here? Like,
yeah, and
look,
that happened with too many of them.
Right, like, I hate to say it, Gridman was wasted at 30. Like, I'm glad that it was there, but the kind of story Gridman is, and, like, what it does with the narrative, I don't feel like 30 was the right type of... What 31 is eventually going to go for Gridman was not a good fit. Same thing.
Geiger versus Better Man. Like, if you're going to do a new Brave series or a PSRW series, yeah, you could try and shove the two new ones, a new addition to one of the most popular alongside it, but it's gonna undermine presenting both of them. Like, it was the problem of too much was there, too much was in conflict, too many series wouldn't allow the others properly exist without story conflicts. Cough, cough, Victory Gundam. And it ended up an entire mess, especially because of what the DLC then started shoving in.
Like, yeah, seriously, Victory Gundam is like sticks out like a sore thumb because everything Victory Gundam does for its plot and narrative directly conflates with the flow of everything else around it, because like it still boggles my mind that 30 had the audacity to include OG Gundam, Charge Counterattack, Zeta Gundam, but then completely skip over Double Zeta as if Judao was like chopped liver.
They were clearly going for the movie timeline nonsense there, but that's kind of the problem. Judao's probably the best use of the classic UC protagonists. It's like, you could excuse him, oh, he's probably all from the Jupiter fleet by this point, but it's like, you're going to the outer reaches of the solar system already just because of the Wolf-Wataru conflict. I don't mind them putting in the RX-78, by the way, because 30th anniversary, you kind of had to have all the classics in there.
But the thing is, like, during the trailer, they advertised that as that's the like one of the included series.
Yeah,
and that's my problem. Like, you can't put in the OG unit of something and say that's it. That's the entire series slot you stuff. It's like, oh, and also Victory, like gameplay wise. What the hell were they thinking, letting all those mass production units fill up roster slots?
Like, thinking, were they thinking?
After Caleb, I've always imagined that Garchomp should have a unique animation for digging, where when it is attacked, its dorsal fin sticks out of the ground.
That would be cool.
Sure did. I'm still hoping that Y will put in Mike Guy, Dagwan, and Xiao Gaigar.
I would be behind them doing Dagwan. Dagwan deserves to be in there.
Yeah, Dagwan is another... I've never seen Dagwan, but I know its mechs are pretty cool.
It's basically Brave series, but Sentai show.
Right.
Which is not bad by any regard. It's just like... Sunrise was being skinned down on animation budget by Dakara, so it was undermined, but its ambitions outreached its needs.
Oh, it is avoided damage.
Oh yeah.
When the four-armed rock guy just blows himself up. I would say look at like overall War's inclusion in something as sort of like when Death Battle represents us in the matchup, because it's not just about like how do these series interact with each other. It's here's my hyperfixation like put on a stage for everybody to see, you know.
I forget, and correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there something new in regards to the Brave series?
Yes, there is. There's actually a new manga out called Sword Raider that's actually considered a canonical. Here's the
Yeah, Bangan is counted as the 9th.
So
And that was in the Brave Saga PS2 game.
yeah, so
So it would technically be the 10th, unless you count Brave Rune, which would make it the 11th.
Right, but that Braveheart I think is spiritually a Brave series.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sword Grader actually recently got included in Robot Wars D, and Sword Grader's whole thing is it's fighting alternate universe evil versions of past Brave mechs.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never on board when a series does that.
Like, I don't know if it's any good or not. All I know is that the attack animation is what made me go, that's definitely a Brave, alright. Because, like, to be a Brave, you have to have your combination and attacks. Yeah, there's a certain way they do them that it's hard to just, I don't know how to describe it.
It's a specific aesthetic.
Right.
Thrown out of, Transformers Victory. That's hard, not easily described.
Terror of Death, Dagon was pretty much trying to be Gundam Wing, Sentai of the Brave series, having pretty way piloting giant robots.
Yeah, because that one was made after Gundam Wing was actually really well received. People say it wasn't, that's just to downplay the series.
Running out of dig boy.
They say, from what I've heard, it's decent. Help the fact that the main character looks fighting alongside the non-evil person. Okay, that helps. And as long as they're not going to do the ZO thing, because I think ZO, when it's another writers, that it's another kaiju writers, it broke it. It genuinely broke it. Fair Death. Also, know most people who are fanciful Transformers and Brave count Starsaber as Brave number 0. Starsaber is the protagonist of Transformers Victory. They count Transformers Victory as a show as Brave Series 0. And I honestly hadn't thought of that until I saw Chris McFeely's recent Basics episode on Transformers Victory, and then I looked at it, it's like, oh no, this is actually a held opinion. I was like, I gotta miss that. How did I miss that?
Like that's the fun thing. Even if you're deep in a fandom, there's always something new to discover.
Unitoku, mind you, Wings, Pretty Boys, and Bots is a variation of Saint Seiya's Pretty Boys and Armor aesthetic.
That's also fair, yeah, because...
Born more out of Samurai Troopers than, aka, Ronin Warriors, than necessarily Saint Seiya itself. But then again, that's also lost in the conversation simply because Saint Seiya never had the cultural penetration in America as it has had in other countries, not helped by the English.
Yeah, but, like, one thing I love about how Japanese media works is that everybody is referencing somebody else,
but they're all iterating on their own ideas of it.
Yeah, but it's also fun because, especially when you trace the lineage of certain series from one to the other, you know? Now, can you imagine what Gundam series would be like if they did the Wind thing but made them pretty girls and giant robots?
And that's kind of cross-on.
Right? Yeah. Cross-on is base as hell. Yeah, it's like cross-on just become an unironic favorite of mine because it can be messy at points, but it's like when it hits, but I feel like it says something. It has like things that it needs to say, and does things in a way that no other mega series does.
Oh no.
You know what I'm trying to say, right?
No, it's like Earthquake on a big boat.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of you. But then again, that's Pokemon. There's always a risk reward for like doing it.
Josh McKellar, by the way, this is that the Monado on the chair next to you. Did you miss when we did the Xenoblade streams? I built them specifically for that. I also advertised them when I did a entire biopsy on Xenosaga. I can always tell when people have actually bothered to watch my videos.
You're gonna have to use Master Bell.
Yeah.
Like, look, I love encountering Pokemon in the wild as much as the next person, but after a point, they become a nuisance.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I think they had the right idea. Have everything in the overworld, that way you know exactly what you're running into, and you're not gonna, you don't feel like you're being screwed out of something.
Except the
Yeah.
stone puzzle. Just so I can actually get through the room.
Put that in your pot! Sorry, you said the room, so I had to. Local trainer and save the BU popular.
Black Century King's comment.
Oh yeah. Black Century King. I still find it funny that Zio wasn't invited to the anniversary of Cookout. Legend was invited, and he's not even a main character. Then Kaiser and Dawn Brothers are laughing at him for stealing his powers.
There is a genuine reason for that, and it's because Zio has been dead last in the Kamen Rider popularity poll since his series debut. And I mean that, dead last. Beating out PvP, beating out Wizard, and Wizard is low on those not because people dislike him, it's because it's like the back to the basic series, so no one's necessarily going to vote for him.
And yeah, like I think he dropped Zio during the O's arc where the character Don Grotto, who has an Emperor's complex now for some reason, slapped the character Hana from Kamen Rider O's, and then they try to justify a woman getting assaulted.
Yeah, no.
Like, no, you don't do that.
Truly horrible things were done in that series.
I do not care how good the rest of the series is. I don't care if you thought the beginning part of the series was good. The minute you try to justify abuse of another person, like, and saying that, like, what the other one character is doing is a good thing, like, no, screw you. Like, that is like morally reprehensible because, like, comrades are allies of justice, not like people who justify domestic abuse.
And even if it's Dan Proto was not like that.
Yeah, and and that's the other thing. Okay, may I rant?
Yeah, it's like, let me just add this point in. The head writer of Zio did not watch the series he was writing about, he only watched the movies.
Well, before I start ranting, DJ Toku, just wondering, how much longer do you think you'll stream for? Need a drink and I don't want to come back to the store finish stream.
I'm going to go for a bit yet.
Yep.
And it's the only, before you begin, the only reasons that Hydra and Dawn Brothers was there were recency bias. If they could have gotten away with getting back Field High Red again, they would have done that.
Oh. Oh yeah, as I was about to, I'm free to go. I'm gonna drop the F-bomb. Fuck CO. I don't care if you think it's a good series. I've seen people say that it is. You're wrong. You are wrong. You are actually wrong here. Because, like, look. I can usually stand by the idea that every writer series is its own, like, little universe, which it's not. But okay, let's say that it, for the sake of argument, Zio was going for that. Like, it directly references other Kamen Rider series, and it does them in a way that make me go, I have seen those series. That did not happen. Like, Kamen Rider Decade has Kasa going through to all these different alternate writer worlds, and we can at least say, hey, those are definitely AU and just different takes of these writers, not the actual ones we come to know as much. Like, who the heck was, like, the Zio opens with Tokyo going to Kamen Rider build timeline,
Which isn't a thing anymore.
which isn't possible because build ends with their world basically being sealed off to prevent Evolve from escaping.
No, not sealed off, they fused them.
They fused them,
And they did that simply to make things easier for the CO creative department to not have to worry about an alternate universe writer in the first place.
but at the same time, like, that doesn't, like, where, like, by the, like,
Again, the head writer for Zio did not watch any of the other series.
look, by the time Build finishes this story, timelines are fused. However, when Tokyo goes to Build's timeline, it's at a point where that didn't happen yet. So
It's not even timeline, it's period in time.
Period
He's not
in time,
traveling to-
sorry.
He doesn't do they don't
Yeah,
do
sorry,
multiple timelines in Zio. They just do overriding takes of reality. You change
Right.
the events in the timeline, you change the present. But it's one of Zio's problems is it has no consistent rule set for its time travel. It's self-contradictory.
like, the point is, like, alright, you've already told me for the first 2 episodes that you're not willing to, like, look at what the last damn series did, and you're just gonna make up shit, and I'm okay with a series making up shit if it's at least good, but if you're terrible at it, it's terrible. And then, oh my god, like, the 5 episodes, what? Like, in what universe, in what reality were Takumi and Kusaka ever friends? They were never friends in 5. It was pretty established that they hated each other.
Yeah, and
So-
the only place that they said they were friends was Kamen Rider Tyson, which again, the head writer for the series only ever watched the movies to not know this is one of the biggest sticking points for people with Spies. It was that fucking retcon, just because they couldn't get Yuji Kiba's actor in there because he was sick and eventually died from that illness.
And also, what do they mean when, like, the Kamen Rider 5's alternate writer or whatever turned into the Force one? Like, what? Make sense of that for me. What are they going for here? And oh my god, the suit designs are just so god awful. Like, the rider armors are just so ungodly, like, they're ghastly. They're only Kamen Rider Vice rivals them in terms of how bad they are.
Not even the Ghost Parkas were as bad.
No, they weren't at all. It's just, look,
The Ghost Parkas were minimalist, but that is when you do a overwhelming suit design that in no part of it works.
Look.
The revised suits, the problem is the coloration.
I hate Kamen Rider Zio because I feel like it's the antithesis of what a writer should be. Writers are in some shape or form rebels in their society. Like, not saying that they literally rebel against society, rather they are kind of like they rebel against the system that they find themselves in, and they are here to, like, protect, you know, good things like justice, peace, and just, you know, be nice people. Tokyo is an a-hole who thinks of nothing but himself, and spends most of, like, 10 episodes of this show that I watched saying, I'm gonna be king or something like that.
He's the secondary writer that's supposed to be proven wrong by the main protagonist, and they swap the roles.
And, like, I heard the reason, like, I don't care what the fucking reason why he wants to be king is. If you're an annoying little shit about it, it doesn't justify anything.
Especially in your setting that says we have no need for kings.
Oh my god, it's an affront to bad storytelling, and it gets even worse if you're a fan of time travel, because when you're a fan of time travel stories, you know what Tokyo is gonna try to go for, and then you can immediately go, you are doing a shit show at it because you're a shit show.
Yeah, because you can use various rules of time travel mechanics. You don't need to stick to the same ones every time. but you can't swap around the rule sets. That is the hard limitation to them. If you are stuck in a single timeline, you can't use multiverse theory. If you're in a causal loop, you can't bring in stuff from outside of it, as bringing stuff from outside of it instantly breaks the causal loop. There are narrative rule sets for exploring how to do time travel, and when you start mixing them up, you end up creating bad storytelling.
And it's just like, I have not seen Revive, so I can't tell you if it's any, like, what my thoughts are on it.
Voice actor Kimura just killed any of our interest.
Right, but from what I gather, at least the writer, like, at least what I saw from the Kamen Rider crossover movie they did, like, they at least seem good, decent people, so at least there's that.
But they apparently had a strong focus on the family angle.
Which is nice, but Tokyo from Zio is just an insufferable little shit stain. Like, he yaps about being a king, but yet all of his abilities are stolen from somebody else.
He has no disposition to him at all, and I think King Ogre did more than anything else in just verifying that for everybody in how little his girl is.
Because, like, my goat, Gira Husty from King Ogre, that is a man of the people. That is a man who earned the title of king before the series was actually over.
Yeah. And, like, actually earned it through deed.
Right, and like, we see, like, why he wanted to, like, what his, like, goals and desires are in the first episode. He is a man that stands up for the little guy.
And it's reaffirmed by the 5th episode at that.
Yeah.
With, the other kings acknowledging him.
Right, and, like, the show spends an entire first 5 episodes establishing not only the main core cast, but why our new Fred is actually a really outstanding dude. And, like, Theo does not do that in the...
Not even in the first episode, it doesn't do it in the entire series.
Exactly, and... Look, I don't care if your story is shit. I don't care if there's any redeeming points in it. If it's a bad story, why would I stick around for any minuscule good parts of it?
Especially because it's a sure production, it was guaranteed to end in the cosmic reset button. Because, you know, consequence-free storytelling. Like, if you're gonna fuck everything up and not care about it, you basically have no option left but consequence-free storytelling. And that even further devalues the story you told. Like,
Theo is like it's bad on its own, but the more you understand how every writer series is, like, before you watch it, you will see that it's
the more Kamen Rider series you've seen, the worse it gets.
Like, that should not be the case. So if you're doing an anniversary show, it should be rewarding for the people that have seen a lot of stuff, because then you see all the Easter eggs and the references, and also take appreciation for what they're doing differently.
That's what Gokaiger successfully did. Like, it was astounding in how well unsuccessfully it did, because no other series that had tried that, and had tried, had managed to do it in the same way. Even the Ultra series had, for the most part, tried to avoid that because the burdens of continuity, and that it wasn't until after Gokaiger, around, yeah, Pokemon Zero was around the time of Gokaiger, and it wasn't until then where they could really successfully do it. Like, there was homage past the series in all the Showa shows, yes, but they say they were kind of loose on that. Right up until Ultraman Zero happened, and then in the Generation Saga, they're a lot more open and free to it. I kind of feel like I need to do a little college.
Yeah,
there's too many coming at me.
Yeah, you just need to keep your color.
like, yeah, it's Victory Road, and I'm supposed to be mass leveling for the elite. But come on, I can't even take 5 goddamn steps without encountering something.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm sorry for the rant, folks, and that's probably like the most heated you'll ever see.
And it's not the first time we've ranted about ZO, because ZO is awful.
Right. It's just, I think stories are important because they can help impart lessons onto us that we ourselves may not be able to fully understand. But it's a good show to help deliver that lesson in a way that helps us become better people. Like, I see many times where people see a show or mecha anime and go, I am a better person because I saw this. You know,
Yeah, like the most abysmal thing Shirakura did, one of the most abysmal things, but for specifically to Decade, is trying to declare Decade has no story when he completely fucked up the episode final material. But that's actually ZO. ZO has no story because ZO has no cohesive narrative message. Decade has a cohesive narrative message about the importance of respecting and honoring legacy.
Yeah, and that for the memory, like when Tsukasa says remember that, like, it's not just saying that in terms of arrogance, it's also the symbol that what these people are doing or what he's about to do has significance. Like,
yeah, actions are fleeting, but they invoke memories.
Right, and those memories can be used as power to help inspire future generations.
Just tears them all down.
It tears them all down, it spits in the face of the legacy it stands upon, and it looks it in the eye. It's like, what if you took the Poochie concept from The Simpsons, but then made the most insufferable character out of it?
Literally 2 steps this time before an encounter.
Yeah, so we gotta repel.
Like, this was a problem in actual Gen 4 as well with their Victory Road.
But the older games that I kinda don't like in hindsight.
The other Victory Roads are not like this. Like, yes, they have a lot of strong Pokemon for you to fight for mass leveling, but they don't shove them in so heavily. You're at least able to get a couple feet away before they start doing stupid shit like this.
And you're just gonna propel your way in here out.
And
Down there. And then rock climb down. Like, I have seen several shows that I feel like because I watched them and absorbed how good their stories were, that I feel like I learned something that new, or it helped reinforce, like, I want to say reinforce it, rather,
and not even taught your values, but like it put your values in context.
Exactly, that's the word. It put things in context in ways that I could understand, and it made me, like, and it also just inspired, like, some of these characters inspired me, and, like, that's why I feel like stories are important. So when I see like, there's a difference, like, when I see a very poorly told story, like, I can use, or, like, ZO is, I get angry because that is, like, several layers of diligence that, like, you don't, it's not, like, so bad it's good. That is, like, no, that is bad. That is...
It's textbook malicious narcissism. Because, again, sure. It's like, Shirakura might not be behind all of it, but again, as I've made the buck has to stop the producer. Death. Also, I kind of sad that Decade didn't bitch slap Kamer and Legend and Gotchard. I've only seen clips of Legend's changes, and it kind of shows, like, the Heisei Phase 1 suits either need to be repaired thoroughly or retired.
If not outright, just remade. But,
part of the bigger problem of Toei being terrible with storing and maintaining their props.
But the thing is, like, honestly, in my opinion, Yo is an exception that, like, okay, there are a lot of Rider series that I may not be a fan of, but, like, when Kamen Rider is good, it is damn good, right?
As much as I hate Ryuki and said it's a bad show, I put out in ways that it opened up storytelling potential and new things for the franchise that were done in a better series. That it's still a bad show, but enough good came out of it in other angles than the show itself. Like, only some people at Toei say, do more of this, when everyone else says, no, don't do this.
Also, at the very least, this isn't necessarily a compliment towards Ryuki, but Ryuki at least like the Kamen Rider Dragon Knight.
Yeah.
And that is really good.
And for everybody who hates Ryuki, we prefer Dragon Knight.
Right. So, you know, it's a case of, yes, Ryuki's bad, but at least something tangibly good came out of it.
Whereas with Zio,
nothing good came out of
nothing.
it. Nothing came of single value of any merit came from that series.
It's the same thing with Amazons and Black Sun and Ostap and Shibiki. I think that's also why Ryuki has to be on the threshold of that Kamen series, because there has to be an acknowledgement that there are just shows where nothing good comes out of it. As much as I hate Ryuki, good things came from it. So I just don't want to not see the show done again. That's because I am just sick of heroes fighting heroes because of how badly Toei has done that at times, throughout time, even though there are good shows that have used it much better. Just like, but you've done it so many bad times, I don't even want to think of the good ones.
Alright, Ryder talk for a second. Lewis, yes, when you and Alexis watch...
Okay, I'm guessing you're Melissa's newer on that front because we've seen Bleach. We have not necessarily seen Thousand Year Blood War, but I read the manga. I watched the show up to a point where I couldn't just not stand anymore because endless filler, unfortunately, which they had better arcs in there. And one of the vlogs for watching stuff we did way back was the live-action Bleach movie, which starred the Kamen Rider Force cast. And we liked that for a one-shot.
I really wish I got a Blu-ray over here because, like, that is actually a solid live-action. Like, okay. The live-action movie of Bleach does something wrong, but I think what it does correct, or, like, what it tries to put what original spin it does on it.
It's not a diamond is unbreakable.
Yeah, it's not a diamond is unbreakable. And also the fact that the three, like, Ichigo, Rukia, and Uryu's actors all knew each other from Kamen Rider 4s. Is that a little or you know, sorry. The fact that they all knew each other from 4s, like...
Yeah, they were 4s, Meteor, and Nadeshiko.
Yeah.
Both didn't know.
Basically, you see the chemistry.
Yeah.
Like, and Ichigo and Uryu are perfectly cast because they have that inherent, like, you can kind of see the Meteor Force dynamic in this. But as far as what are my thoughts on Bleach, I think it's much. Okay, is it a problem? Is it have a lot of problems with it? Yes.
Kubo had issues with his editors that made him less interested in the story he was going to tell over time, and kind of undermined what he wanted to do and the direction he wanted to take it. So that's why you kind of have not only arc compete, but repetition.
Right. But I honestly think it's a way better story than Naruto is, if only because, like, Naruto's biggest issue is that where it goes in its power scaling and the story with, like, freaking aliens from the or whatever,
the Kaguya reveal breaks it.
It breaks the entire setting because how are you ever gonna guess that's gonna happen? Whereas where Bleach finally winds up, that's at least, you know, it was narratively established that Quincy's exist, and now this is just all like, here's that story finally being told.
Yeah. Victor Garcia, what about ZO fanfics? The entire premise behind all the ZO fanfics is this good person is actually evil, because that's the entire premise of ZO. But what you see over the course of ZO is Tokyo is an actual bad person that the show is bending over backwards to justify as anything but. And they do it so poorly because the creators don't understand they're constantly depicting a bad person and think he's a good one. So by the series end, they're at the point of realizing, wait, we can't get this person we consider to be a good person to be being evil. They actually did not fucking see it. Whereas all the ZO fanfics, again, they start from the premise of this good person will become a tyrant, but they also see the problem of you don't see the plot progression there. But yeah, those are another things I don't engage with, not just because of our general loathing of ZO and everything it does wrong, but because it's more people missing the point. And also for them to give their ZO any of the powers, it has to repeat the same error of the original series of stealing powers from other characters. Like, and I'm not on board that, just period. But you don't see a lot of people do the Gokaiger other anime fanfic ideas, not just because Gokaiger is basically just Sentai One Piece.
That's like stuff that's theirs.
I saw something here I wanted to grab. Yeah. Razor Claw. Here, and there's a Hawk Flying thing to go.
No, that's the one you came down on.
Oh, right. The other one I can count on. I agree with the each fight versus Naruto death battle.
I think that question's been asked in stream before, and I'm just gonna give a brief answer. I hate the fact that Ichigo lost, but I get why he lost. Because at the end of the day, Naruto goes like he has splitting feet and has way more tools in his arsenal, while his Ichigo just gets to get 10 shows everything. Like
yeah, just because of the special ability in Bleach's narrative, not enough time passes for him to actually gain any of that capacity at them, especially due to how much overwhelming power he has natively that he struggles in controlling it. Like, kind of a Naruto thing in and of itself, but not in the same way.
right.
Actually, because of all the experimentation that was done to him.
Yeah, that's right. It's like that other rock mine where that dragon tamer was filling up. That's where you go.
And there's different rock parts there. And that's why I like fanfics where someone else's crossover, especially. If they do it, it has to be a villainous character. It can't be the protagonist, because then it's, again, reinforcing the base lie that Zio told. Like, if I was to do a character that would be a Zio-like character in a counter story, I have this idea in my head of an O's crossover with Code Geass, which would eventually expand into including other Rider series. Suzaku would be the Zio equivalent. And, like, he would be... Because that would do it appropriately. It's a character fucking things up for everybody else, and thus he would need to be defeated to literally fix the timeline. Like, that's how you would handle that kind of story engine. He is the end villain, he's not the protagonist. because you can't do that protagonist villain angle correctly with the power theft. Like, Decay didn't do power theft originally. And this Gyarados likely has my
We're all equal. Oh man, he's dancing.
Doesn't matter. Abomasnow is another one of those Pokemon that should probably have to pick that. Yeah. I know its ability sets is already loaded up, but it's just its build.
Yeah.
Makes it leans towards that.
Alright, yeah. Going on for quite a while.
Yeah, that's 3.5 hours.
So, do you think once we have to re-road, we should...
Yeah, the problem is, like, either we go long for the Elite Four, or we don't, and then doing the Elite Four next week is, like, kind of too content.
True, so... You long haul on it?
I mean, we could, but we already said we are gonna do the cooking pot
Yeah.
thing. Unless I can, like, defeat the Elite Four in a half hour.
That's not happening. Get the lone Steelix.
Yeah, the only reason it likely would happen is just because Cynthia's team is in the mid-60s.
Yeah. Like, her highest is Garchomp at level 66, and...
And it's like, I'm close,
But
I'm not there yet.
Yeah, and honestly, that's the other thing that I feel like the remake kind of highlights the problem of Gen 4, in that for what Cynthia's team levels eventually are, you're supposed to be at that level by the time you fight her, but it's like trying to individually level everybody.
Yeah, and experience share helps, but the amount they were shoving random encounters at you made it feel like, oh, this is clearly so you have the levels you need to get to Cynthia, but they're hitting you so hard while you're trying to get through the actual dungeon, that you don't really have the time to recover Pokemon enough for it to matter.
Right. Have enough for like 4.
No. I always loved just coming to the Pokemon League for all those balls and Gen 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna call it here at 3.5 hours, just short of the Elite Four, because I don't think I'll be, even with curb stomping the main Elite Four before Cynthia, will give my Pokemon enough levels to actually take her on. And it's like, I think that's more the issue of her challenge and why she's the strongest champion to begin with. Not necessarily because she's unbeatable, but her level range just skews so much higher than everything else you're expected to have. So the grind is ubiquitous just to be even ready to fight her.
Also, when, like, in the original, when, like, you come across that Spiritomb, you're like, what the sh...
especially if you couldn't do all the keystone stuff to actually get one in the vial.
Yeah.
Alright, that's it for us this week. We'll either, like I said, do the Elite Four next week after I do a little bit of grinding or something else. But we're confirmed that May is going to be the next Final Fantasy XIV month, so we'll finally be journeying into Stormblood. I hope Golden Gar will be available to help us out because we'll be doing it Saturdays. Alexis is arranging to get off for that. I'm arranging to get off for that. John, at worst, has the mornings of that locked up, so considering I'm still night shifted for my normal weekly schedules, that shouldn't be that big a conflict. Later, guys.
Later.